You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Behind the back! Are you serious? No hesitation on the shot. Ms. Rye's feeling it. Make it 3 for 3. And Ciolino, see you later. Here's a chance for Syosset. There's a shot and a goal. Will Spare will take it all the way. Touchdown Seahawks. The extra look and the goal. A gorgeous goal by We welcome you to windy Syosset this afternoon, where it's the Orland and Cone Game of the Week on the Varsity Media Sports Network, as the Braves of Syosset take on the Sailors of Oceanside in a Nassau Conference 1 showdown. Good afternoon, everyone. Dylan Butler here with Mike Hungerford. And Mike, a lot is on the line here this afternoon. A lot of similarities when you look at these two teams' schedules. They both beat Farmingdale. They both lost to Massapequa, and only 2 power points separate the two of them in the standings. So a possible a high seed in the postseason, maybe the number 2 ranking overall at stake here this afternoon.
Yeah, a lot to be determined here today, Dylan, in terms of where people are going to be when the season comes to an end in terms of playoff seeding and getting a home playoff game. Top 4 seeds will get 1 home playoff game, and will also maybe be a higher seed when they go to Hofstra for the semifinals. So obviously both teams want to hold serve and they want to win and continue going in the right direction.
You can see there on the standings, Syosset off that big win here against Farmingdale. Very close game, an 8-point win. And Oceanside, a good bounce back after their difficult loss that we had for you on the Varsity Media Sports Network, defeating Port Washington. They did so without Charlie McKee. Was banged up in that Massapequa game. He was a game-time decision leading into this game. He is here, and he's also chasing some history today. A lot is on the line here for Charlie McKee. We've watched him throughout his career. He is chasing the all-time career passing yards number. The leader in that category, there you see him, Joe Capobianco out of Lawrence High School from 2011 to 13, 8,013 yards. McKee needs 256 to break that record, so something we'll certainly be keeping an eye out for this afternoon.
Sure, and Charlie, you got to remember last spring, missed a few games. The spring season was a little shortened than what the regular season would be. A 2020 season that was pushed into the spring. So he's chasing that record today, so he's trying to gain some ground, right, with a few less games to go.
And we might as well stay with McKee when we talk about our impact players. And there you see his numbers this year, certainly incredibly solid, right? Over 1,000 yards already passing, 12 touchdowns, only the 2 picks, strangely, both on Varsity Media Sports Network, a pick against Farmingdale and a pick against Massapequa. Reigning Thorpe Award winner, he's committed to Stony Brook. Certainly, again, I think the protection, we'll talk about keys as we go along, the protection of McKee is very important today, but he's going to certainly have a big role today for the Sailors.
It's his team. I mean, winning a championship, I think, is of paramount importance to him and to Coach Blount and the program. And they will go as he goes, but protection and protecting him and his ability to run the football as well as throw it will be interesting dynamic, Dylan, as the game goes along. Well, I think one of the personal keys I have is how much is he being able to run the football today, coming off that injury last week, and how much can he be that dual threat guy today?
So you mentioned a quarterback for Oceanside. Well, the impact player that we have for Syosset is the leading receiver, or one of the leading receivers, certainly the top receiver a year ago in the spring, the Pizzarelli Award winner as top receiver. That was to Luca Catolo. Catolo this year, there you see his numbers as well. We know him, you know him certainly well from the lacrosse field. 29 receptions, 440 yards, and 6 touchdowns, also getting it done on the defensive side as well. So Catolo will certainly be a big impact player for Syosset, but also in doing so, he allows a guy like Robert Trapio maybe to get some extra catches because of the attention on Catolo.
Yeah, Trapio is a little bit of his Robin to Catolo's Batman in a way, right? With a partner act there, and Catolo, great two-way high school football player in the conference, one of the best players in the conference at any position, I feel, and not only has all those 29 receptions, but he's going to make the routine, the 8-yard reception, the 12-yard comeback, the 5-yard out. He's going to make some acrobatic catches too, and you have to be careful because he gets loose deep. And when he gets loose deep, it's going to be 6. The scoreboard's going to move usually. So it'll be interesting to see. Both these teams want to throw the football. They're used to defending the football being thrown in practice. So we'll see how that dynamic goes as the game progresses.
Hey, we showed you that number before, right? The wind, believe it was, 15 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour. It's certainly swirling. So how will that play a factor, right? In all phases, the kickoff game, the kicking game, that's something that's been huge for those guys right there at Oceanside. A lot of trickery, a lot of changes for them as well. So the wind will certainly, there you see the flag whipping around. It will play a factor here this afternoon.
I think pregame is trying to figure out from the coaches what their quarterbacks will good throwing with or without the wind.
We'll take it down to the Syosset Band for the playing of our national anthem. And you heard it at the end there, the screaming of the Braves for the home of the part of the anthem. Huge game here, and we got a chance to speak with a couple of the Syosset guys leading into this, and we spoke to Luca Catolo and Matthew Rangis about their approach to this game against Oceanside.
Better teams that we're facing, but just another game for us. We're going to go out there and give the same effort that we did every other game.
You have to take each game by game, but this one definitely a little extra motivation for us. They're a top-tier program. They play the game well, and they knocked us out the playoffs last year, so there's definitely a little bit more motivation on us.
So Syosset won the toss. They deferred to the second half, so they'll kick the ball off. Going right to left, and again, a swirling wind. We'll see how this affects even this opening kickoff, and as we could see already, ball off the tee for Robert Crean.
Might need the edge guy to come in and hold that thing for him. One of those Charlie Brown moments.
All right, take two for Crean. A nice kick into the wind, fielded by Mecca at the 4-yard line. Mecca has some holes, breaks free, and he's taken down just outside the 30-yard line. So here comes Charlie McKee. We've seen him for, it feels like ever, right, as the quarterback at Oceanside. Oceanside's had some real good ones, and we'll show you the list later in the game about the top passing yards guys. And you've got Vinny Guarino, you've got the Hewer brothers, of course, Jay Fiedler, even back in the day. But for Rob Blount, the head coach of Oceanside, McKee is the best that he's coached. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. McKee in shotgun, and already you could see just one backer, and that's to his right. Fakes the handoff, goes to Hossein, drops the football at the 30. Let's take a look at the Oceanside starters on offense. You've got McKee, you've got Cairo at running back. Your receivers of Lyson, Kramer, Mecca, Hossein up front. Some changes there for Oceanside because of injury. Corvino at left tackle, Diaz at left guard. You've got Cagno, Broderick, and Justin Alvarez at right tackle.
Well, Dylan, the interesting dynamic here will be how many players is Syosset going to commit to the box and defend the run as opposed to the pass.
2nd and 10. McKee takes it himself, gets about 2 or 3. We'll take a look at the Syosset defense, who are facing a big third down on this first series. There you see the guys right there. You've got Plaza, Brogy, Landersmith, and Henry up front. Risciuto, Macchia, Modena as your backers. Catolo and Accardo, your Lucas, are at the corners. And Cicada and Trapio at safeties. 3rd and 6 for Oceanside. First drive of the game. Lyson motions to the right. And another man in motion as well. That was Kramer. And McKee taken down.
You can see Dylan already with Syosset. Very good coverage on the first few plays. First play of the game, they went bubble. Play here. Charlie looked right, came back to the left. His receiver was covered. Great coverage by Syosset. In the first play of the game, they didn't commit too many. First 2 plays, they didn't commit too many men to the box. Kind of challenged Oceanside to run the football. The first 3 play, they threw an incomplete bubble, and then they went with a running play. So this will be an interesting thing we'll check as we go along as to what's happening with the Syosset, how they're defending this passing game.
I believe that was Quinn Brogy. Sure. I believe that was Quinn Brogy, the senior defensive tackle, with the sack. It's a loss of 6, so it's 4th and 12. And McKee will punt it away. A good one. Takes a bounce, and there's that extra few yards that you always reference, Mike, on the leaving the kick. So Syosset will start on the 36-yard line. And hey, listen, they've got a pretty good quarterback of their own. You know, McKee gets a lot of press, but Rangis has put up really good numbers so far. 87 of 130, over 1,200 yards already, 16 touchdowns. Now, the 6 INTs you want to certainly cut back on, but he's been big, and he's got some great receivers as well. Obviously, we mentioned Catolo at the start, Cicada as well, and Trapio's the guy as well. And Luca Accardo does a good job catching the ball out of the backfield, too. So 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line for Syosset, their first drive of the game. Rangis deliberate here and takes a look at his sideline.
Yep, little dummy cadence, trying to give the Oceanside famous for being a blitzing team, a lot of stunting and a lot of action, a lot of moving of players. So trying to see what's going on first.
Rangis rolls right, finds a receiver. That's Cicada across midfield for the first down.
Tell you what, Dylan, so he's throwing it with the wind. He does have the advantage of the wind to his back, but he throws a ball from the right hash to an out to all the way across. That ball's in the air a very long way. That's a pretty good quarterback play for the first play of the game.
Cicada's 9th reception of the year. 3-year starter, a solid receiver. And that's another thing that's similar between these two teams, Mike, here today as well. A lot of options and not afraid to kind of go down your depth chart in terms of receivers. There's Accardo, shifty. Looked like there was a hand in on the face mask and a late flag there as well. You could see that, right, when Accardo was coming across. A paw came across and certainly looked like it grazed his face mask. Here are the starters. For Syosset, you've got Accardo as your lone back. Mandel, Cicada, Trapio, Catolo are your receivers. Brogy, Landersmith, Ramswack, Montagny, that's a big change right there at right guard, and Jake Cohen in at right tackle. Kyle Montagny in for Sean Dillon, who was injured. Dillon played both ways, so a little bit of a change for Paul Rourke, the longtime head coach of Syosset. So it's a 5-yard face mask penalty, and that pushes the Braves up to the 38-yard line.
Not an automatic first down. So they get a first and very, very short, very odd first down and 1 to go.
Cicada in motion. They'll go back to Accardo. Runs it to his left, and he will get that yard and some more than he needed for that first down run.
Good run by Accardo. A little zone action there, right? He bends it back. Very nice run.
Here are your starters defensively. Stalter, Moskovich, and Miller up front. Baez, Lice, and Broderick McGann are your linebackers. McCormick and Hosane at corners, and Mecca and Kramer at safeties. 1st and 10 for the Braves from the 33-yard line. Low snap. Going back to Accardo. It looks to be to the 30. Should be about a gain of 3. First year playing this year, Mike, for Accardo. We know him well from the lacrosse team, a High Point lacrosse commit. But he's a big pickup this year on the football field, because you can see how shifty, right, he is, and you need that out of a bat. Again, not dissimilar to some of the athletes for Oceanside, right? Almost like a scat kind of guy. Rangis goes out to his right. Trapio is hit hard by Hosane.
Yep, throwing a little bit of a screen there, throwing out there, and throwing it really across the width of the field. And those are some of the hardest blocks to make and stay on, because it happens fast, but not as fast as you think. And got to stay on there, and he got off the block there. Hosane made a nice play. So you got Syosset with a 3rd and 8 here, probably in 2-down territory already.
Hosane, his 10th tackle of the year. That was for no gain. So 3rd and 8 here for Syosset. It's the Orland and Cone game of the week on the Varsity Media Sports Network. We thank you for joining us here this afternoon. It's Accardo to Rangis' left hip. The man in motion is Catolo, and maybe a little too much motion for, we're going the other way. Oh, it looks to be, is that offsetting, Mike? There's a lot of pointing going on.
Looks like delay a game on Syosset. Vinny Oliva's crew here today. He's the white hat. He's the referee in the game. Very good crew. We've had them before. We had them the week. We had the Bethpage Wanto game, and one of the best crews in Nassau County. They do a very good job.
So a 3rd and 13 now for the Braves after that penalty. They receive Rangis.
You got to see, Dylan, it may not be 2-down territory now. You're back to the 36-yard line, right? Might be a punting situation if you don't gain too many yards.
This time it's Trapio in motion. Rangis rolls the other side, has good protection, throws a tough one there as well. Looked like McCormick was in on coverage. It was Catolo as the intended receiver.
Yeah, couldn't squeeze that ball in. Good coverage there by Oceanside on the boundary there. Interesting development though. It looks like Trapio's limping a little early on. One ankle's pretty heavily taped. Interesting to see how that progressed over the course of the game.
Well, he did get injured against Massapequa earlier this year, and ankles are very tough, right, to heal from. And not much on the punt. It will take a really good bounce, though, for the Braves. It's fielded at the 14-yard line.
So both teams have it once, Dylan. You know, the Syosset guys get the ball moving a little bit, and they're able to pin Oceanside pretty deep in their own end. So they've won the field position battle early on. We'll see if Charlie can get the ball moving a little bit and change that. Oceanside
coming off a 35-16 win over Port Washington. In that game, Nicky Cairo played the quarterback position. He was a perfect 2 of 2 for 21 yards. Also 28 carries for 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was 220 all-purpose yards in that game. A wide open receiver on the left, and Syosset has to call a timeout. A missed assignment. You do not, listen, Ronnie Kramer is tough enough to deal with in coverage, but when you leave him alone on the edge, that's a recipe for disaster. So Braves have to take a timeout. Back to that Port Washington win. Cole Parker, 11 carries for 68 yards. Mecca, 8 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Logan Lyson, great job defensively in that game. 11 tackles. It was the perfect response to that loss. And we spoke with Rob Blount just about rebounding from that Massapequa loss. He says, look, it's one of the better things, that loss, he said, that could have happened to us. We have a standard here where we expect to win every game that we play. That's never going to change. We didn't play close to our best on 3 sides of the football, and we lost to Massapequa by just 6 points. So he sees a tremendous area of growth. He's happy the way they competed against Port, especially without McKee in there, and he figures they're in a great spot entering this game and also with everything ahead of them as well.
Sure, they've had a little bit of an injury bug over the course of the season. Some guys banged up here and there, miss a game here and there, and they have enough depth to keep going. But I also agree with Coach Brown. I think losing isn't necessarily a terrible thing. I mean, you only play 8 games. You don't want to lose 2 of them, but maybe that is a refocusing and a chance to get back to work and get back on track.
1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. There's the handoff, and that's good pursuit to the football. Macchia with the tackle, and it looks to be no gain on the play.
Yeah, not much there on the inside running right there from Oceanside. You know, I think both teams are trying to seek some balance early on, Dylan. I mean, Oceanside's playing into a pretty significant wind, but you know, you want to try to run the ball, create some balance, to keep the defense off balance a little bit.
Now it's McKee trying to get to the outside, taken down. A huge play. There he is again. Quinn Brogy. You're not getting to the outside of big number 73.
Brogy listed at DT, but kind of by flipping around, he plays end there, right? Comes up the field and kind of pins it in, and, you know, and trying to run wide there was difficult. He kept fighting to the outside, you know, keep that outside arm free, and he makes the play on Charlie McKee. So now you got 3rd, about 15 for Oceanside into a pretty significant win.
Paul Rourke says Quinn Brogy is our best player on both sides of the ball on the line. And you can see there already his second big play. Some trickery here. McKee turns, and that is an incomplete pass trying to find Kramer.
That was a little bit of a quarter roll with a screen coming back against it. You know, trying to get the defense flowing with Charlie a little bit and coming back and not caught. I mean, somewhat of a safe play on 3rd and long. You know, I don't know if you're getting 15 yards on it, but incomplete, and the South gets the ball back. So they're right now the Braves are ahead of the field position situation for sure.
A tough punt here for McKee because he's in his own end zone. Trapio and Sakata are stationed at the 35-yard line. It's an angled punt right at Sakata at the 35, and he is taken down at the 20. So about a 15-yard return in Syosset, Mike. They are in business here on their 2nd drive of the game.
Tell you what, not a bad punt by Charlie into that wind. The first punt he had I thought was excellent into the wind, and but I think the Syosset guys in their return game did a good job of holding up the coverage and giving them some room to run around there, and all of a sudden room for Sakata to run, and I mean, really great field position for Syosset, and really have to try to get some points on the scoreboard on this drive.
You mentioned before those winds. Well, they've increased. They're 24 miles an hour with gusts to 30. That's how significant they are right now. So Ranges with Accardo to his left. Hands off there. Accardo jukes and gets a few on 1st down.
There it is, Dylan, right? I mean, you know, you get the big play off the punt return, and you run the football, and you're thinking that everyone in the stadium is probably thinking they're going to chuck it around a little bit with Ranges, but they're trying to create some balance, I believe, and trying to keep the defense guessing a little bit. So running the football on 1st down, getting about 3 yards is a good thing.
Accardo came into this game 71 carries, 322 yards. There he goes again. This time Lyson reads the play and gets the big tackle. Lyson 6'3", 225, his 28th tackle of the year.
Yeah, Lyson's one of the better two-way players in the conference, and as a junior, one of the better juniors in the conference for sure. And Great play there. He bends. I don't know if the rule was for Rangers to pull the ball or not, but he could have pulled it and ran around the corner there, I think.
3rd and 7. And again, Rangers patient, looks to his sideline. You've got twin receivers at the top and bottom of your screen, and now Accardo will motion to Rangers' left. Maybe some motion there, nothing called. Nearly intercepted, and there is a flag on the play as Rangers went down. The pressure came from Lyson, and we'll see the call on the play.
Problem there is, Dylan, you're throwing that ball there, and Oceanside on both sides against the split receivers for 2 on each side. They have 3 over 2 on both sides, because on 3rd and 3rd and 8, you're not 7 to 8. You're not going to really run the football probably. So dangerous situation there for the Braves.
So the penalty declined. It's 4th and 7.
Field goal. It's not Friday night, though, Dylan. It's not Friday night field goal.
This is a tough one with the wind going, right? Korean is out there. It will be a 34-yard attempt.
He certainly has the wind in his back. We'll see if he can keep it between those yellow posts.
I feel like it's swirling, though, a little bit. So driving kick. It is up, and it is good. So with 2:43 left, Crayan boots the 34-yard field goal to give Syosset the lead. Here it is again.
Bit of a sidewinder there, but he gets it to go through. Good for him. Field goals aren't easy to start with in high school, let alone these conditions. Great job. I think it was important, Dylan, that the Syosset get some points there, right? They've had 2 good drives. They started drive deep in Oceanside end of the field, and if they would have came away with no points again, a bit of a downer, right? A bit of maybe a momentum swing back to Oceanside, and they get some points. It's not a touchdown, but it is something on the board to say, hey guys, we're going in the right direction.
How about this note that we had from Paul Rourke about Korean, where he said he's got a really strong leg. We see it in practice. He hits field goals regularly from inside the 25. So right his length, it appears, and nailed it from 34.
Sure, he's at the length of his range, but he's got the wind in his back.
Sure.
It gives him a little advantage there. It was good. You have to get, I think, either team, when they're with the wind, has to get some points. Can't not get points when you're playing with the wind. It's pretty critical.
And if you're Oceanside, you kind of, you think it's not the worst thing, right? You give up 3 instead of 7. You would have rather have certainly gotten a stop if they had gone. Korean, a very long kick. It takes a bounce and will go in to the end zone. So Oceanside will start from their own 20.
Touchback. So, pretty deep in field position for Oceanside again to start from. And, the field position battle, I've said it a couple times already, been won by Syosset so far. I think Oceanside maybe 2:13 to go in the quarter, get a couple first downs, try to get out of the quarter, right, and get the wind at your back and be able to have Charlie really throw it around. Be interesting to see if they can keep the ball in their possession, Dylan, through the end of the quarter to get the wind, starting the second quarter.
So here comes McKee and the Oceanside offense looking for the response with 2:13 left in this first quarter. It's the Orland and Cone game of the week on the Varsity Media Sports Network. And there's that handoff again you mentioned. Good push up front and a healthy gain on first down. Looked like that was Cole Parker with the run. We saw Parker really kind of come out into his own in that Farmingdale game earlier this year. He had a huge performance in that one.
Big second half
yes.
For Parker, yep.
Parker coming into this game, 26 carries, 219 yards. Lyson motions to the right. Now he's going to pull. Handoff again to Parker, and he'll get out to the 25-yard line.
So it sets up a 3rd and 5 here, Dylan. You know, like I spoke of earlier, minute 20 to go in the quarter and the clock running. Can Oceanside get a first down here, right, and just get to the second quarter and get the wind at their back and let Charlie seemingly chuck it away, right?
He hoped to get it with the cadence there. Braves not biting. Handoff again, and nowhere to go. Looks like on the tackle, Santiago Plaza, number 24, the sophomore defensive end.
Well, right there, he's bending off the edge, and I'm not sure if they want Charlie reading that or not, but in a zone read situation, he could pull that ball and kind of keep it. And Plaza sees him not, hand it off and is able to make the play. If he's bending that hard, maybe next possession they'll talk on the sidelines a little bit. That might be a pull, and Charlie can keep that ball.
Plaza 5'8", 155, but a great motor. His 17th tackle of the year. 4th and 5, McKee. He will have to punt the football and gets it out to Trapio, who fields it at the Braves' 48-yard line. Trapio tries to get to the outside. Doesn't really have many blockers there. Pushes forward to about the 38-yard line, and that should do it here for the first quarter. Waiting for the official word by the referees. It is their clock on the field, and it will be the end of the first quarter. So an entertaining one here out in Syosset. The Braves with a 3-0 lead on Oceanside. You're watching the Orland and Cone Game of the Week on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Teed off by shoulder pain? We've got specialists for that. Realizing you've pulled out more than weeds? We've got specialists for that. Doing the twist making you shout? We've got specialists for that. Orland & Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And welcome back to Syosset High School. Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford here. Start of the second quarter, and the Braves will have the ball at the Oceanside 39-yard line. Early thoughts here on that first 12 minutes of play.
Well, I think a lot of people came here today thinking there might be a shootout going on between the two teams, but the wind conditions certainly going to play a factor in that today. Both teams trying to fill each other out, trying to create some balance, I think, in their offense between the run and pass. I kind of expected both teams were going to try to run the ball a little bit more maybe than some people thought, just to try to set the defense off a little bit. And I would say that's a good win that quarter. That's a good win for Syosset that quarter.
Ranges calls his own number, and he's hit hard. Big number 50, Joey Broderick, one of the more physical players for the Sailors, makes the tackle.
And that's what I'm talking about there, Dylan, in terms of reading the zone read and pulling the ball, right? He read the bender of the unblocked player in the zone read, reading the unblocked player and pulling the ball and running around the corner. And Broderick lags. He lags. That was really the backside linebacker that makes the play on Ranges. Nice play by Broderick.
2nd and 5 from the 36-yard line. Again, goes the same way. This time evades Broderick, but additional Sailors defenders were there, and Ranges will be short of the first down marker.
Good tough butt run by Ranges there. He kind of leaned forward and used some forward momentum to get him an extra yard. And now we have 3rd and short here. Interesting situation right now. Syosset playing against the wind in Oceanside territory. The longer they can possess the ball, Dylan, keep it away from Charlie and that wind, the wind at his back, right? So big play right here.
3rd and 1. Again, it is Arcardo as the lone. Ranges looks for the push. Gets it from behind, and looks like he will get it for the first down. He'll get to the 30, which is 1 extra yard than he needed.
Kind of looked like when he snapped the ball, he wasn't getting much push. And then, of course, the running back kind of comes in from behind a little bit, and they get it all moving in one direction. and they get the first down.
Range is good size as well, right? 6'1", 205, so good size body on him. He'll get that push from in front and also from behind. Ricardo kind of also helping push him in the back and get him going forward to the 30-yard line. And fresh set of downs, Mike. And now, again, the clock, right, will continue to tick. And this is more time that McKee and his offense are off the field. Catolo motions to the left, and we've got a timeout for Oceanside.
Coach Blount didn't like something he saw there. I saw his defensive players were kind of moving around a little bit for the formation, aligned for the formation. And then when you had Luke Catolo go in motion, the alarm went off, and they took a timeout to get organized there. I think you don't want Catolo running around in free space too much without knowing who's covering him.
This is true. So, again, in our conversation with some of the Syosset guys, we spoke to Matt Rangis about the Syosset offense and how he's meshing with Catolo and Trapio.
It's the guys up front, execution, and everyone just doing their job. You got to come out to practice every day, got to listen to your job and just execute. And that's what this game comes down to, each guy doing their job, and hopefully at the end of the day you walk out with a win. It just comes down to working hard and, having trust in your guys that they'll catch the ball. It's, just having trust in each other.
They're here from Rangis, and good senior leader and good compliment as well, right? I mean, you need a quarterback, you need the receivers, you need a running back, you need the guys on offensive line. It's a team effort. Certainly, and the Braves have gotten that not only here this afternoon, but throughout the first 5 weeks of the regular season.
Sure, no disrespect to anybody when I say those guys play gym class football once in a while. They just throw it around and they make things happen, and that's a very respectful statement in my way I say it. I don't say that in the way people say, "Oh, what do you mean gym class?" It's just they go up and make plays, things you make in the backyard, and it's not random. I think it's practice. It's stuff they probably do in practice every single day, and they're used to each other and they trust each other. And you don't have a great quarterback without great receivers, and vice versa. And the offensive line and 11 men working in sync. But I think last week for Syosset, beating Farmingdale, having lost to Massapequa, and beating Farmingdale gave them a huge sense of a huge surge of adrenaline and believe in themselves,
But what they didn't do was kind of pump up their chests in class or in school this week, and they had a very business-like response off a very big win. So that was a false start on first down. Again, it's Catolo in motion. The handoff to Ricardo, and he pushes forward to the 28. And that's one of the things that Rourke liked to see, the response. It's not only after a loss, right? It's the response after a win. He said that they were focused on what was next. He felt they were fortunate in that game. You saw it. He said that, listen, we just made a few more plays than they did. It was a very, very evenly matched game, and the kids kind of realized that, where they haven't been walking around and thinking they're better than everybody else. But he said that's how this group, this senior-laden team, that a lot of them have been on varsity since sophomores, that's how they carry themselves week in and week out. 3-yard gain there for Ricardo, and, again, a few different players motioning. Rangis rolls as well, and this time he bounces it towards Trapio. Mecca was in pursuit.
Bit of a standard 3-level flood going on there, right? Grat with a quarter roll, give him a little more protection, and I think he'd like to have that one back, Rangers, because I think he had Trapio open. Ball was thrown a little low, and sets him up in a pretty long 3rd and 12, and you might have 2 plays here. Maybe they're discussing the Syosset staff. Try to get half and get the second half on 4th down.
I love the matchup here in the bottom of your screen. It is Catolo against Josane. 2 of the better players, certainly, in Nassau County. Range has plenty of time. Now they'll come after him. Throws into double coverage. Tried to find the low man, and that was Sakata. Incomplete. Good job defensively by the Sailors.
Well, at the bottom of the screen, Catolo ran a comeback, deep hitch comeback, and he was open, and they turned it into the gym class football, right, spinning around and scramble drill. I really thought he was going to take a shot deep to him. He decided to come down to the low man.
And you know what? Where he cut, I think, right, that was at the 20, so it was right at the first down marker. So if you would have hit him there, and so 4th and 12. Now, Rangis will go, it appears, from his own 32-yard line. Low snap. He will go deep, looking for Katola, double coverage. Touchdown, Syosset! Incredible! Luca Catolo, 32 yards.
And there is my gym class reference that Dylan, you know, he just takes a deep shot. Running a wheel combo. Running a vertical with a wheel combo on the bottom of the screen, 2-man route, and the wheel's covered well. And he takes the double, throws it to the double covered man, and just have trust with the man in double coverage. He's going to go make the play.
Korean's PAT is good. He had 2 defenders, Mike, draped all over him. But that's one of the reasons. You want Exhibit A on why Luca Catolo is considered the top receiver in Nassau County, why he's the reigning Pizzarelli Award winner? That's one of the reasons why, right? Where it's a situation where you either assume it's incomplete or maybe picked, where this guy here has no chance, but he believes he has a chance. Another touchdown for Catolo, his 7th of the season, and we were kind of waiting, right? When is he going to have an impact on the game? Well, you certainly knew that Blount and his guys defensively were aiming and making sure they had him in check. But that's what the great players do, right? They just need that little bit of a sliver of an opportunity.
Well, you look at the route combo that was run. It was a wheel. It was a wheel by the inside receiver and a post, vertical post to the by the outside receiver, who was Catolo. He ends up being double covered because he runs through the extra safety, and they throw it to him anyway because the wheel was well covered. And just go make a play. Go be the guy you're supposed to be, the Pizzarelli Award winner. And I guess that's what's expected of him. And they trust each other, and that's great stuff, man. That's just a great player making a great play.
Catolo, a Quinnipiac lacrosse commit, but he's thinking about some football maybe in his future, so he's keeping his options open. 5'11", 175, and again, 29 receptions, 440 yards coming into this game. Had another score there, a 32-yarder. Koreans' kick is fielded at the 40 by Mecca. And how about this stat for you as well, Mike, as we finally see at 8:26 left here in the second quarter, Oceanside finally get back on the field offensively. 0 total yards of offense in that first quarter. 0.
Yeah, very, very surprising. I thought they would, try to run the ball and be a little more successful running the ball in the first few series, and they haven't been. Now they have the wind. And it's 10-0. It could be worse. It's only 10. I mean, honestly, it could be worse. And that's got to be their mindset. And here we go. Charlie's got the win, and let's chuck it around.
And here's your total yards number, right? 77-0 for Syosset right now. So McKee starts off, has good field position, though, from his own 35-yard line. He will go deep. He's got a man as well, but he overthrows Hossein. And you wonder if that's one of those situations where the wind maybe gets a little bit of it, right? Gets it up in the jet stream.
Sure, definitely in the pregame, the coaches were watching the quarterbacks warm up and throw with the wind and without the wind and see what they can throw. And, of course, there's Coach Blount, man. He's going to go for it right away. Let's go. We got the wind. Let's take a shot. And Hossein Hossein beats his man, and they just can't hook it up. Definitely come back to that again, Dylan, at some point, I would imagine.
I would think so. 2nd and 10. McKee finds a man, and pulled down at the 50 was Hossein.
Good route by Hossein, coming off the deep ball. The corner feels like maybe a little threatened, and maybe, he's going to get beat deep again, so he's a little soft. And they throw a quick hitch to him, a little deep hitch for a first down.
Oceanside looks to move quickly. 3 receivers at the bottom of your screen. Hossein alone at the top. McKee looks towards Hossein, makes the catch, and a good tackle as well. 2nd consecutive tackle there on the outside by John Munoz.
See, now there's a game within the game now, right? So you have Hossein matched up against Munoz. Catolo at the bottom of the screen has got, he's covering a different receiver in Ronnie Kramer. So now, maybe they think they have a better matchup going on the other side of the field than Hossein. And now, how is it going to play out here? How much cushion is he going to give him? What's going to happen next year?
2nd and 8 from the Syosset 47-yard line. McKee goes to Kramer. Cuts inside. Another cut as well by Kramer. Lowers the shoulder. Gets the first down and a little more. He's taken down at the 37-yard line.
Good balance play right there, throwing a little bubble. Throwing a little now screen out there and using Lyson as a blocker. And great cut because it was an unblocked man, and he makes the first man miss. He gets some good yardage. So now the Sailors have the ball moving pretty good here, you know.
Yeah, and when you start to get into a rhythm, and that's something that Paul Rourke said, that's what you get concerned about with Syosset. McKee drops back, looks for Hossein again, and again, just a little bit long, and did get that separation that he hoped for from Luca Accardo, but an incomplete pass.
Yeah, they're going to take. I believe when they have the win, both teams are going to take a number of deep shots just to see what happened. They took one against the win, Syosset, and hooked it up. But they're going to take their shots because guys are open. It's just about putting the ball in the basket, right?
And what an incomplete pass does for you if you're Syosset is it takes Oceanside out of that rhythm a little bit, right? Because they like to move so quickly after a completion. 2nd and 10 from the 37-yard line. McKee goes to Cairo out of the backfield. Cuts the ball inside. Gets inside the 30-yard line. Good reception by Cairo, and that's something he's done as well. Came into this game with 34 carries for 216 yards and 3 touchdowns, so it's clearly the Sailors' leading rusher, but also 8 receptions for 112 yards out of the backfield. Again, they will go quickly. 3rd and 1. McKee towards his own sideline. Lowers the shoulder, and he'll get the first down run.
Good job by Oceanside right there, going fast. They get a play to Cairo, in which he makes a man miss right there. I think Modena had him and kind of missed him, and Cairo makes a miss, and they get back right over the ball, and they run Charlie to the boundary and get the first down. So that's the benefit of going quick sometimes, and being able to force the defense to line up fast to be ready to play.
And Rourke says too, look, when you look at them, they attack pretty much every area of the field. Right, so if you had one of those graphics on kind of where passes are going and where they attack, it's versatile, which makes it so much harder to defend. Now you've got trips right. Pass goes to the left, though, and it is complete to Mecca.
Up there, an empty set there, no backs in the backfield. They had 3 receivers into the boundary. Coach Brown probably checking to see how Syosset's defending 3 into the boundary right there. Then it looks like it could have been a screen to the boundary, and he throws it to Mecca for the hitch for about 8 yards.
Sweep to Kramer, cuts inside. The Syosset fans calling for a hold. They'll not get it, and Oceanside will move the chains.
And Dylan, that's actually a pass there, right? That ball is flipped up in the air there, so that's actually a completion.
Actually, they did not move the chains. They're right at the chains here for a big 3rd down.
Give it a Charlie again here, maybe.
McKee does take it, has a blocker, and he gets inside the 10 for the first down.
Good drive here for Oceanside, right? A lot of rhythm. They're ahead of the sticks right now. They're ahead of the play call, a little ahead of the defense. And
it's exactly, Mike, I think what you needed, right? I mean, it's perfectly drawn up. I mean, it's one thing if you get that first one, that long pass to Hossein, let's say that was complete, right? But now I think it's more valuable that you move the ball, that you get to all your different receivers, that you get running the football as well. 1st and goal from the 9. McKee motions Cairo out to the right. He will go that way. Cairo catches the football, avoids a tackle, and he's forced out of bounds at the 4.
So then motion that back out of the backfield, trying to see exactly what Syosset does defensively. They didn't really slide a guy with him. The corner got off, and Cairo can make guys miss. He's not a big guy, not a big guy, but he's very shifty and makes guys miss. Very reminiscent of Tommaso Ramos of Farmingdale, very same way, makes guys miss a lot, and D'Alessandro Maspico in the same way.
2nd and goal from the 4, and nearly taken down for a loss They didn't get that first tackle, but they do force McKee out. That was a good job by Munoz. He doesn't get the tackle, Mike, but he forced McKee out a little bit further wide, and he also got his mates coming in there as well.
He bent him, made him bend it back a little bit and stumble a little bit, and they came in and made the play. And he certainly wasn't 200-something pound Charlie McKee when they tackled him there because they kind of got after him a little bit.
So it looks to be a loss, right, on that play. So they're back to the 8. So a loss of 4. It's 3rd and goal. McKee drops the football, picks it back up, and he's got a lot of time. Throws end zone. It's incomplete. The intended target was Lyson, and deflecting the football there was Jimmy Modena.
So good recovery there by Charlie McKee after dropping the ball and coming back and tried to throw it a little bit across his body. As you see on a lot of football on TV, when you throw across your body, things don't always go so well. And lucky to have that one back because there are a lot of South defenders around there.
We're going field goal for field goal. Frank Marizio, number 88, to attempt this 25-yarder. The kick is up, and it is good. So Marizio's second field goal of the year. He went 41 yards against the Dalers that we saw earlier this year as well. Marizio gets the field goal and gets Oceanside on the board. We'll take a quick break. 3:55 left here in the first half. Syosset leads Oceanside 10-3 on the Orland and Cone game of the week on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Are you settling for a boring live stream? Can't see the players' uniforms? No audio? Camera not following the action? Consider a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Our announcers help tell the story of your game.
Goes McCarthy. He's got. Oh, he's in. Touchdown, Farmingdale.
We feature multiple camera angles, guaranteed to capture all the action.
Touchdown, Oceanside!
Plus added features like graphics, instant replay.
Yeah, the shooters are going to shoot here at Bethpage, and one of many threes on the day.
Interviews and more. It's your time to shine. And with Varsity Media, now you can. Contact us today and book a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050.
And welcome back to Syosset. Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford here. 3:40 remaining in the first half. Marizio's 25-yard field goal has put Oceanside on the board. They trail 10-3. And just before we got back on, a host of parents here telling the Syosset guys, watch the onside kick. Marizio instead drives this one deep, and it will go into the end zone and out of the back, and we'll have another long attempt here for Syosset.
So 3:40 to go before halftime. Dylan, 10-3 Syosset with the ball and going into the wind. And, they played, I think Syosset played pretty well here in the first half. And, for them to go into halftime ahead 10-3 or more would be great for them. Of course, Oceanside with 3:40 like to get them stopped so they can get the ball back and do something with it with the wind, right, in the last few minutes of the half. So interesting set of plays coming here. If Syosset get a couple first downs, they could probably at least get to halftime.
So Rand just gets his guys back onto the field. You've got Trapio and Catolo at the bottom of your screen. Cicada motions to the right, inside handoff. Good read by the Sailors. Accardo doesn't get much on that first down run.
I think we clamped down that ball a little bit. He was trying to bend it back, but he got the ball hit into his stomach late and couldn't really get that wind back he's looking for.
I figured you had to use the word clamp and Accardo in the same sentence at least once, right? The face-off guy here for the Braves.
I wasn't thinking about that, but that's a good analysis right there.
Rand just fires one over the middle, finds Trapio for the first down, spins, and is down at the 35-yard line.
Not sure if that's an RPO there, Dylan, or just a play action pass, but it's got run action, and it's got, the inside receiver running a deep in pattern, a little bit of a slant there across the middle, and makes it look like a run play up front, and reading one defender if it's an RPO, and deciding whether I'm going to pull it and throw it or I'm going to hand it off.
I think I'm going to do you one better with your Batman and Robin reference at the early portions of this game as Accardo pushes forward. I think that's more. I thought of that same exact analogy coming into this game as I was driving here. I think I'm going more Marvel, right? I'm going to go because Batman and Robin would indicate that a Robin is maybe like less, right, than a Batman. So I'm going to go more like a Captain America and Iron Man, right? Like two strong, almost equally as strong, right? Like superheroes.
Good analogy right there. Timeout Syosset, but you can see here that, Trapio, he makes some plays too. I mean, it's very, very, very good.
All right, so we saw last week with Trapio, he made, and if you were watching the Varsity Media Plays of the Week, he was all over it, made 3 huge grabs, and Trapio talked about those grabs and sort of what he saw on those plays.
I've just been seeing the ball better this year, and my quarterback's been put in the right spot for me to make the play. O-line's been just giving him the time to do that. Well, I feel that our quarterback has the time to make plays, and we put a lot of work in the offseason to get our team together, and we all been playing for a while, so I think that really helps us out.
All right, so if you missed any of those plays of the week, tune in at halftime. We'll have those for you. You can see another vantage point. And the funny thing that when we spoke to Paul Rourke about those grabs, he said, look, he wasn't trying to be flashy, Trapio. It was kind of what was given to him. Like, he wasn't just trying to make those one-handed grabs because you see that all the time, right? That was literally his best option to make a catch. And, hey, listen, in your main sport, you talk about that all the time, right? In lacrosse, sometimes that behind the back is what's given and the best option. And those were the one-handed grabs by Trapio that worked best for him there. 2nd and 8. Ran just over the middle, and he finds Cicada. What a great job by Cicada. Again, not the biggest guy at 5'8", 160. A 3-year varsity starter. That's a tough grab to make over the middle.
Ran just with a little bit of a Patrick Mahomes sidearm throw around the defender there, right?
And Accardo will push forward. So similar there for Syosset, right? Maybe looking to move quickly here on the Oceanside defense.
Well, I believe, Oceanside might only have 1 timeout left. This board's not saying, I don't have it written down, my bad on that. But I think, they're trying to go a little faster, and they'd be happy to go in at 10-3. I mean, they're winning, right? And if you get something extra here, that'd be awesome.
I'm sure our guy, Joe Giannotti, who's handling all the stats here for us today, he'll have that information, and we'll relay it as well. Oh, and what a read by Logan Lyson. Big number 6 blew up that play in a big way. Cicada hit for a big, big loss.
He was coming either way, and it just timed it up just right, just timed it up, and that's why he's one of the best junior players around in the junior class in Nassau County.
Oh.
There he is. Good thing he didn't fumble that football right there. I mean, it's a pretty good job by Cicada holding on to it.
Lyson, 27 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble. 6'3", 225. That's that train coming at you, right, from middle linebacker.
So with the clock running, it looks like 2nd down and 12. Looks like Syosset could run one more play, depending if Oceanside tries to use timeout or not, and maybe get to halftime.
No motion again. Ranges will roll to the right. He's got protection, continues to roll, tucks the ball down, and he's hit hard. Looks like that was Lyson again.
Good decision by Rangers to run in terms of not throwing interception or throwing a bad ball, something that could create a loss or give Oceanside a chance here, and runs it for that physical play on the sideline there. That's a tough hit to take.
But I tell you what, though, if you're looking to maybe run the clock down, you don't go then to your sideline, right? And run the ball out of bounds. So that stops the clock, and it stops it here on 4th down as well.
Sure, I saw a second before my mistake. I actually hadn't changed the sticks yet, so it's 4th down right now. 19.
So if you stayed in bounds there, you wouldn't even have to run a play.
No, I remember something. There's no official up here right now, so the clock is up here. It's not official, so I'm not sure exactly what the time is.
Well, Ranges will tuck it. He'll actually get the first down. Spins. And he'll get knocked down. It looks to be the 42-yard line, so that's 2 more yards than he needed.
Yep, and the clock will stop temporarily for the moving of the chains. High school and college clock stops on a made first down in bounds temporarily.
So they'll go quickly, it looks like. Maybe one more strike. No, we'll hand it back off to Accardo, and now the clock will stop. It'll be a timeout for Oceanside.
Okay, we heard 5 seconds ago at halftime here, it appears.
So we'll show you again sort of the jumble, right, after Massapequa and why this game is so important. Here you see the standings and the Chiefs having beaten both Syosset and Oceanside. They're in first place, but you see the power points, and that's the important number, right, to focus in on. Only 2 power points separate Oceanside and Syosset. Freeport right behind them. The Dalers just a little bit behind Freeport. They'll play each other as well. So what you love is that a lot of these games will be decided on, or these seedings will be decided on the football field with the 2 and 3 right now and the 4 and 5 playing as well.
Right, so if you're all confused how the PowerPoint system works, everyone starts with 100 points, and you add points for you gain the winning percentage of the teams you beat, and you lose points from the losing percentage of the teams you lose to. So right now, Farmingdale won last night against Westbury. It looks, I hear for the beauty of the internet, that Freeport is winning right now against Uniondale. So that'll probably stay the way it is till next week when those 2 teams play. And the standings will stay the same. And we can have a flip here if Syosset would have won the game today.
See, I thought you needed like an abacus and all kinds of different mathematical formulas. Accardo pushes forward, and we believe that will likely be the final play, right, of the first half. And it is, as you see the 2 teams leaving the field. So a very good first half for the Braves. Syosset with a 10-3 lead over Oceanside. We'll take a break. We'll give you our top 10 plays, and we've got a special. You guys can't at home certainly smell what the press box smells like now, but it is some great pizza from Paisanos. And listen, you know, we do a little bit of everything here, Mike, you and I. So we give you the call of the game, and we'll also give you a pizza review as well here at halftime. It's the Orland and Cone Game of the Week on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Over the middle, he's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open, Perazi, he gets it, Perazi, foot raise, 10, 5, bank it, touchdown, punch, counter punch.
The trickery, Ryder gets it back, goes over the top for Haberman.
What a catch! Just Ross Simmons strips him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this the other direction. Bank it, touchdown, touchdown East.
Over the middle, he's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open, Perazi, he gets it, Perazi, foot raise, 10, 5, bank it, touchdown, punch, counter punch.
The trickery, Ryder gets it back, goes over the top for Haberman.
What a catch! Just Ross Simmons strips him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this the other direction. Bank it! Touchdown! Touchdown East!
All right, we're back here at Syosset. It is halftime. The Braves with a 10-3 lead, and we don't get treated too often. We're treated to good football games, certainly, but we're not treated to actual food too often, Mike. And the good folks at Paisanos, owner Damien, brought us a pie, actually. So we figured, why not? Let's do a little review as well, right? Paisanos over at 637 Jericho Turnpike. So what do you think? We'll pop the lid here and see what we got.
Smell pretty good coming in. I'm a bit of a pizza snob myself. I don't know, but I trust Damien. I think it's going to be really good. Smells really good. Let's give it a shot.
All right, so there you see it. We'll get a good look. Earl Simmons on the camera. So it passes the look and the smell test, right? That's the first two right there. What do you think?
Barely fits in the box. A lot of pie.
You like that? You like that?
A lot of pie. I mean, typical 8-slice pie, but it barely fits in the box, right? So, got the tree.
There you go. All right, we'll put that to the side.
Where do you want to start?
Wherever. I'm going to follow your lead.
Okay, we're just going to go. We're going to go right here.
Damien didn't give us plates, but we'll deal, right? We're
grown men. We've done this before.
That's it.
Here we go.
All right, little fold. The fold is super important, right? Obviously.
You got to have the quality fold. Right?
Yep,
There
yep.
it is, right
And he's
there.
got it here.
Right there. Here we go.
All right, here we go. All right, so you have the crispy crust, right?
Good crust.
Which you love. Really, I like the sauce. What do you think?
It's passing the test right now.
It is certainly passing the test.
It's going good right now.
So listen, we have pizza here in the press box, right? You can get it as well. You go to Paisanos, 637 Jericho Turnpike in Syosset, 516-921-6500. Damien's your guy there. He'll hook you up. They're on Uber Eats. They're on Grubhub. They're on pizza, on Slice as well. Or just call them up yourself to get an order as well.
Tell you what, not too greasy. I like that.
Yeah.
Good amount of cheese without asking for extra cheese. Crust, good feel on the bottom of the crust.
Very.
We're good to go.
I like it. All right. So Paisanos Pizza passes the test.
Damien's the man.
So we had a bite or two.
Right now, at least.
The big question is, how is the second slice, right? We're going to find that out off camera. So we're going to go for two, right? We're not going to go for the extra point. Paisanos Pizza, 637 Jericho Turnpike. You guys are going to love it. Anyone who's a supporter of Syosset Athletics, if you're an athlete yourself, if you're a coach, an administrator, if you're the supervisor, superintendent, come on out to Paisanos. Hey, listen, if you're an Oceanside guy, right? If you're coming in here, you want something to eat before the game, after the game, Paisanos is your place.
I think by the address, you can maybe get there and then swing back around to 135. You're good to go.
That's pretty good. So we're going to have our slice, get our crew eating as well. So Paisanos, thanks so much, Damien, for the pie, and we will certainly enjoy that here at halftime. Again, your score, it is 10-3 in favor of Syosset. It is the Orland & Cohn Game of the Week on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Teed off by shoulder pain? We've got specialists for that. Realizing you've pulled out more than weeds? We've got specialists for that. Doing the twist making you shout? We've got specialists for that. Orland & Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
A school that's known at least as much for their lacrosse as their football is Cascadon, showing he can certainly do both. Not going to be stopped. Jack Cascadon in for 6.
Here comes the pressure. Torres intercepted at the 40. Tony Alfano, now he fumbles the football. and St. Anthony's gets it back.
Zachary completes St. Eloy up the middle. Eloy still on his feet. 1-0 to beat. It's a foot race. Touchdown!
Not feeling the love after your last tennis match? We've got specialists for that. Running for the train, derail your knee? We've got specialists for that. Diving after that grounder leaving you grounded? We've got specialists for that. Orland & Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
Over the middle, he's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long. Wide open is Perazzi. He gets it. Perazzi. Foot raise. 10, 5. Make it. Touchdown. Punch. Counter punch.
Trickery. Ryder gets it back. Goes over the top for Haberman. What a catch!
Does Ross Simmons scripts him? That's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this the other direction. Make it! Touchdown! Touchdown East!
Now is the time to showcase your skills for the next level. College recruiting videos help your athlete land a spot on the team and can save money on college tuition. Consider a professional video produced by Varsity Media. Our quality film and state-of-the-art editing will help your athlete stand out from the competition. We offer affordable rates and a quick turnaround. Contact Varsity Media today and book a college recruiting video. 516-403-2050 or online at varsitymedia.net. Now is the time to promote your business on our broadcasts.
Now Farmingdale will fire and find the back of the net.
Top of the key. 4-3. Good.
With viewership in the thousands, your company will get the local attention it needs. Best of all, we offer affordable rates. High school sports online audiences are growing. Take advantage by advertising with Varsity Media.
Hands off. 3-point shot is up and in. You back him back 3 yards, it doesn't matter. Touchdown, Freeport.
Contact us today, 516-403-2050, varsitymedia.net. Are you settling for a boring live stream? Can't see the players' uniforms? No audio? Camera not following the action? Consider a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Our announcers help tell the story of your game.
Goes McCarthy.
He's got. Oh, he's in.
Touchdown, Farmingdale.
We feature multiple camera angles, guaranteed to capture all the action.
Touchdown, Oceanside!
Plus added features like graphics, instant replay.
Yeah, the shooters are going to shoot here at Bethpage, and one of many threes on the day.
Interviews, and more. It's your time to shine. And with Varsity Media, now you can. Contact us today and book a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Teed off by shoulder pain? We've got specialists for that. Realizing you've pulled out more than weeds? We've got specialists for that. Doing the twist making you shout? We've got specialists for that. Orland & Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
A school that's known at least as much for their lacrosse as their football is Cascadon, showing he can certainly do both. Not going to be stopped. Jack Cascadon in for 6.
Here comes the pressure. Torres intercepted at the 40. Tony Alfano, now he fumbles the football. And St. Anthony's gets it back.
Still on his feet, 1 down to beat, it's a foot race, touchdown!
Not feeling the love after your last tennis match? We've got specialists for that. Running for the train, derail your knee? We've got specialists for that. Diving after that grounder, leaving you grounded? We've got specialists for that. Orland & Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
Over the middle, he's got a man. It's complete. Ciolino. See you later.
Going long, wide open for Rossi. He gets it. Perazzi, foot raise, 10, 5, make it! Touchdown! Punch, power punch!
Trickery, Ryder gets it back, goes over the top for Haberman.
What a catch! This Ross Simmons scripts him, that's loose, and Ross Simmons is going to take this the other direction. Make it! Touchdown! Touchdown East!
Now is the time to showcase your skills for the next level. College recruiting videos help your athlete land a spot on the team and can save money on college tuition. Consider a professional video produced by Varsity Media. Our quality film and state-of-the-art editing will help your athlete stand out from the competition. We offer affordable rates and a quick turnaround. Contact Varsity Media today and book a college recruiting video. 516-403-2050 or online at varsitymedia.net. Now is the time to promote your business on our broadcasts.
Now Farmingdale will fire and find the back of the net.
Top of the key, 4-3, good.
With viewership in the thousands, your company will get the local attention it needs. Best of all, we offer affordable rates. High school sports online audiences are growing. Take advantage by advertising with Varsity Media.
Hands off, three-point shot is up and in. You back him back 3 yards, it doesn't matter. Touchdown, Freeport.
Contact us today, 516-403-2050, varsitymedia.net. Are you settling for a boring live stream? Can't see the players' uniforms? No audio? Camera not following the action? Consider a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Our announcers help tell the story of your game.
McCarthy.
He's got up. He's in.
Touchdown, Farmingdale.
We feature multiple camera angles, guaranteed to capture all the action.
Touchdown, Oceanside.
Plus added features like graphics, instant replay.
Yeah, the shooters are going to shoot here at Bethpage, and one of many threes on the day.
Interviews and more. It's your time to shine. And with Varsity Media, now you can. Contact us today and book a live stream broadcast with Varsity Media. Online at varsitymedia.net or by phone 516-403-2050.
We welcome you back to Syosset. Second half set to start soon. A long halftime here, and Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford. 10-3 is your score in favor of Syosset. We had dueling field goals with Robert Crean kicking a 34-yarder. That put Syosset on the scoreboard with 2:43 left in the first quarter. Frank Marizio ended the scoring with a 25-yard field goal. But in between, listen, you just saw our plays of the week. I think we found one for this upcoming week. Watch it again. Back to pass. Rangis, this is double coverage. Guys all over him, and somehow, some way, Luca Catolo comes down with that ball for a 32-yard score. Here's another angle of it. What'd you think here, Mike?
Well, you see, I said before they had that route combo going, and he throws it right into the double cover guys. And believe it or not, it looked like the Oceanside guys, just by luck of how they ran, were behind them more, right?
Yeah.
The ball was a little, I wasn't going to say underthrow, but thrown a little in front of him enabled him to come back to the ball.
But that aided him in that situation. That was huge.
It's just how things work,
See the Braves making their way back onto the field. Let's take a look at some first half stats while we have the opportunity. And you can see there as well, rushing the football, Oceanside's not really shown that ability as they maybe have in the past, but Syosset has a little bit more of a dual threat there, passing and rushing the ball for Syosset, which we haven't seen again. Windy conditions, that plays a factor. Penalties are pretty good. Time of possession pretty even, but right now the rushing yards is a little bit of the difference here between these two teams.
Yeah, you can see the rushing yards is a big factor because if the Syosset guys have a little bit of balance there, right, and a little bit of time possession, a little more time possession they may normally have, throwing the ball a little bit more, winning completions or stuff like that, and that's been a major part of the game. Being able for for a Carter to get some yardage there on the running game, and Ranges.
And Cicada as well, 3 receptions for 21 yards. He's been pretty good. Again, you've got multiple options if you are the Braves, right? It's not just Catolo. It's not just Trapio or that combination. Cicada as well impacts the game in a big way. We talked about at the start of the broadcast the chase, the history with McKee, second all-time in Nassau career passing yards behind Joe Capobianco of Lawrence. He had 77-57. That was his number coming into the game. We'll show you where he's at now. McKee's numbers, there he is in the first half. Not a great one. We saw 47 yards, right? So he needs 210 in the second half. That's a big second half considering what we saw in the first half to become the all-time passing yards leader in Nassau County. And when we talk about those names, I mean, what a list it is as well. Capobianco's at the very top, right? A lot of Oceanside guys on the list as well. You've got McKee. You've got both Hewer brothers, a guy named Jay Fiedler you might have heard of as well. Vinny Guarino. You see the bottom there of your screen, Will Hogan. We talked about this before we jumped on. That was in 2 years. But Will Hogan, the leading Syosset to a Long Island championship as well on that run. A lot of Lawrence guys as well, right? They love to run and shoot.
We'll get to Will Hogan a little later because that was probably, I think, Syosset's best team of all time since the 70s. The guys from the 70s, they heard that would be very upset. But, saving that, the early 70s, Syosset was a power in the county. But that team with Hogan was very, very good. That Long Island Championship 2014.
Defeated Lindenhurst, which featured at the time a very, very young Jeremy Ruckert. We know what he's doing right now at Ohio State. Ruckert, just a freshman on that team, was just a little pup. I think he was actually out at wide receiver, and then we saw how he kind of got bulked up and bigger. I remember being there at Hofstra that day just kind of talking about, wow, this kid's going to be pretty good. Well, he certainly has been. But that day was all about Syosset and winning the championship, the Long Island Championship. And
They caught fire that year. They had a slow start, finished 8-4 with the Long Island champs. And, they had Hogan and they had Alardo at receiver. That was the combo,
yeah.
The Alardo and Hogan combo.
1st and 10 from the 20. Aran just rolls, and he finds Trapio, and Trapio is thrown out of bounds by Miles McGann.
Good. Playing into the wind now. Syosset in the second half, right? They had the kickoff, and I'm off the touchback, and that's a great start for Syosset. Little short pass, little quick play, get the ball in Trapio's hands, get some yards, get a very workable 2nd and 2 to play with now.
2nd and 2. Low snap. Here comes Broderick. Good dump down pass to Accardo.
Had Broderick off the edge coming around on the linebacker dog there, and he was able to get rid of it.
So it was a completed pass, but it was for no gain, it looks like. So it's a 3rd and 2 for Syosset. First drive of the second half. Another low snap. Rand just rolls to his other side. He finds Cicada. First down, past the 40. Cicada stays on his feet, and he's taken or pushed out of bounds at the Oceanside 49.
Cicada, man, we didn't talk about the opening, right? I mean, they have 3 receivers in Syosset who are very good, and he's become the man of the match, right? And all of a sudden, making plays and making catches, and Gay Cicada doing a really, really good job. Instead of having 2, they have 3. Do you have any 3-man groups?
That's right. But that's important, right? You can have 2 options, right? It's great to have 1. It's even better to have 2. But when you've got a 3rd, like Cicada, who, again, came into this game with 8 receptions. We saw already 3 in that first half. That's his 4th. Here's Catolo. And a short gain, if anything. Mecca and Cairo force him out. But, again, it's what makes Oceanside so tough, right? Because they've got multiple receiving threats, and Syosset does as well. And again, you can motion Accardo out, and he can catch the football.
Yeah, great job there. Tremendous arm strength there by Rangers, getting that ball there into the wind, into that bubble, and getting the ball into Accardo's hands, into Catolo's hands, and run around with it a little bit and steal 4 yards right there. It's always been a big bubble team.
2nd and 7, handoff to Accardo, and he is hit hard over the middle by Lyson. Talk about a size mismatch, right? Accardo comes in at 5'7", 167. Lyson 6'3", 225.
Lyson's dropped the boom on a few guys today. He's dropped the bomb, and he can do that with his size.
His uncle, Freddie Lyson, was a terrific three-point threat back in his day, both for Oceanside and also St. John's. Back when I was on campus watching Freddie Lyson knock down threes for the Red Men at the time, turned Red Storm. 3rd and 5. Accardo gets to the outside, passes Lyson, and a first down run.
Good play call right there by Syosset. Just, there's that keeping the defense off balance a little bit. It's 3rd and 5, and they're going to run that a short pass. They're going to run it. But by running the ball as much as they have, they've created that little bit of unsureness in the, and if that's really a right word, but in the Oceanside defense.
Something certainly uncertainty, right? As Accardo again chased to the edge, he fumbles the football, and it looks like Sakata falls on it. Fortunate there for Syosset as Accardo got to the edge, but then the pursuit to the football was really good by Oceanside.
Yeah, you see Coach Blount jumping up and down on the sidelines over there, sees that ball come loose right in front of him, and they just.
I thought he was going to jump on it.
He's usually very close to it, and he decides not to get on the field, jump on it, and Syosset gets the ball back right there. A fortuitous bounce of the ball for Syosset, and 2nd and long it looks like here for.
Yeah, 16 they'll say. 4, you see on the bottom of your screen there, 4 receptions for 44 yards now for Sakata, who's becoming a big storyline here this afternoon. Short pass by Rangis into the flats, and again, a really good-looking tackle. Looked like that was Adrian Baez, and now Baez is a guy. We talked about injuries, right, and how it plays a factor. Baez, the sophomore, starting for Jack Hickam. So Hickam was a regular start in that linebacking core. In steps 14, you see Baez there. Big tackle there on 2nd down.
Good play by Baez. They throw a little screen out there and say, it's always run a number of different types of screens, the now screen, middle screen, different team passes. They treat them like running plays, get the ball out fast in their best players' hands, let them run around and try to grab some yards. And if you play the screen poorly and you miss, get bad angles, they become big plays.
On the bottom of your screen is Catolo, fumbled, snap, Rangis pulls forward. So there's been a struggle here with the snaps. And again, there's been some movement on the offensive line. Sean Dillon is out, so Kyle Montagny came in at right guard. Ramswack is your center. And every snap, it feels like we've seen here, has been low. This time nearly costly and again, fortunate, right, to get the ball back, but this time a sure punt. Trapio did this earlier in the year, and this time it's Crean. He's holding his foot. There's no flag on the play. The official was saying it was a deflection.
If you touch the ball, it's not roughing the punter. It's, changes the dynamic. If the official thought the ball was touched, then the dynamic changes. Nearly got it there on the punt block there by Oceanside. And the snaps have been low, Dylan, a little bit, and maybe nobody mentions the center until it doesn't go well. It's one of the most toughest jobs, going. You have to make that snap every play until it's not going well, and that might be the effect of the nose guard, of having Moskovich over his nose all the time.
Here are McKee's mates, and that's how many different guys, right, have touched the football. Hossein, Kramer, Mecca, Lyson, Cairo, Ebel, Rossler's out, McCormick as well, so many different guys have been targeted by McKee. This time over the middle and in and out of the hands of Michael Mecca. Usually such sure hands by the senior.
Yeah, big loss we didn't talk about today is Matt Rosswell not playing. Big, huge 6'5", 6'6", 240-something pounds. Recently committed to play football at Johns Hopkins University. Johns Hopkins is very, very good, known for lacrosse more than anything else, but a very good Division III football program and a top academic school. And he's been out. He's got some issues with his knee, and they'd certainly miss him.
Cairo on the handoff, cuts inside. That's a great leg tackle. And that's, look, if you want to know how to draw it up, John He brought it, number 20. That was perfect because, again, these Oceanside guys, right, they're so shifty, right, and they're so tough to take down. He came in and made the tackle.
Well, that's the spread offense right there, Dylan. Getting guys in space, right, and having to make one-on-one tackles in space. And the Sox guys made it right there.
Big tackle by John He. Short pass to Cairo. Up the sideline, and he's kicked out. Nearly hitting our guy, Earl Simmons. But it's good for an Oceanside first down. Look out, Earl.
I think look out, Cairo. They missed him coming out of the backfield there, and he kind of got lost a little bit, I think, and he's able to get free. And that's a big play that might be the biggest play of the game so far for Oceanside.
McKee flushed out, tucks the ball down, goes over the middle. McKee into the secondary, and he's pulled down inside the 30.
Little improvisation right there from Charlie McKee. Instead of throwing it maybe poorly or making a bad decision,
And they wanted to go quickly. A flag is on the play. It appeared everybody was ready, but not McKee.
I don't think McKee was ready. Syosset was subbing a defender on and off the field. They certainly, for a brief moment, looked like they might have had 12 men on the field. I don't know what's going on there. Calling a few things.
And encroachment on Syosset. So mission accomplished there for Rob Blount. And Oceanside, they'll move up 5 yards on first down. McCormick is your lone receiver at the bottom of your screen. McKee takes it himself. And again, the pursuit. This time it is Trapio, 85.
Great play by Trapio, playing safety. Sees that ball. McKee pulls the ball and starts to run. And Trapio comes downhill, inside out, and makes the play. Great tackle. Trapio doing it on both sides of the ball today.
Second and 3. Motioning is Lyson. Parker bounces to the right, and he's taken down. Good for a first down for Oceanside.
Dylan, at halftime I was mentioning to you about, the Oceanside guys haven't been able to get the ball running a little bit. It seems like right now they're committing to it. They're doing a pretty good job. They're wearing on the Syosset defense a little bit.
Screen and a great look. We've said his name a few times, Johnny Munoz.
Munoz comes unblocked right there. I think they were trying to block out on him, and they couldn't get him blocked. It makes the play. Great play by Munoz.
McKee pump fake, goes end zone. Touchdown, Oceanside. Looks like it was Mecca.
That's a total setup situation. And 2 plays in a row, they go bubble on the first play. They see the Syosset guys kind of charging the bubble a little bit, and they go bubble go right there on the next play to Mecca for the touchdown. Fake the bubble, throw the go. Touchdown.
See it again. Watch. It's single coverage here. Good pump fake. You see the route, and that was Trapio that was just left to chase on that play.
Well, that receiver right there, Mecca, he breaks down for a second and acts like he's going to block like he did on the previous bubble on the previous play, and then takes up the field, up the sidelines for a touchdown. And That's a setup play that Coach Brown sees on his sideline, sees off the bubble, and goes, that safety's coming downhill so fast. He can't. We're going to get him next time on the bubble go, and there it is.
So
Maurizio,
the PAT is good, and we are all tied at 10. 4:38 left here in the third quarter. You're watching the Orland and Cone Game of the Week on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Not feeling the love after your last tennis match? We've got specialists for that. Running for the train, derail your knee? We've got specialists for that. Diving after that grounder, leaving you grounded? We've got specialists for that. Orland & Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
And welcome back to Syosset. Listen, if you're a high school student, you want to do what we do here at Varsity Media, and there's a lot for you to do, contact us here for intern opportunities, ben@varsitymedia.net. You want to control the camera, you want to video edit, you want to do graphics, heck, you want to join us in the booth. You could do any of those things here. Internships are available for you high school students here on Varsity Media. So we've got a ball game here with 4:08 left in this third quarter. 10-10 is the score. I would think, Mike, coming in, and I didn't see any lines on this game anywhere, but I would think Oceanside, right, would have been a pretty good favorite. That was a 16-yard touchdown, which puts McKee now 171 yards away. But I think it's a closer game as Maurizio puts it through the back of the end zone. A closer game maybe than people outside of this community perhaps thought it would be.
Yeah, I was kind of driving here and thinking about it all week, covering the game and looking at some film and doing some studying of my own, and I wasn't really sure what direction the game was going to go in terms of, with Oceanside. Both teams certainly want to throw the football, and the weather conditions in terms of it's a beautiful day, but quite windy. It's certainly affected what each team is doing with the ball. And I think that's kept the score down a little bit, definitely to a degree. And I wouldn't say I'm surprised they asked in the game. I think they have a balanced, solid, balanced football team, and obviously the scoring being down affected by the wind conditions.
And they're a team too that's put up some big points, right? This year, Syosset 32 against Hempstead and 21 in a loss to Massapequa. 38 we had here against Freeport. 21-7, 28-20 last week against Farmingdale. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Fake handoff. Rangis is under trouble, under duress, and he is taking a big sack. That's one you've got to get rid of if you're Rangis. And sacked by Xavier Miller, number 28.
Xavier Miller coming hard off the edge, but wasn't, nobody was really open, and you maybe want to try to maybe throw that ball away and not lose all that yardage. Huge loss, almost a 20-yard loss on the play. Tough situation for Rangers to be in with nobody open, and I think this half, Dylan, so far we've noticed is 3:25 in the quarter and running, that the line of scrimmage is now being won a little bit more by the Sailors, right? They're winning the line of scrimmage, and you can have all the quarterbacks and receivers you want, but football is won or lost on the line of scrimmage with the big guys up front.
Back to the goal line here. Accardo dances to about the 9. But yeah, listen, Xavier Miller is a guy, we saw him last year as an outside linebacker, right? Moved to the edge, 5'10", 180. That was his third tackle for loss, first sack of the year. But Miller at 5'10", 180 certainly brings it from the edge.
Sure, and he, a bit of a coverage sack there, nobody open, but he's chasing relentless motor. Xavier Miller plays really hard, and not the biggest kid, but defensive end guys in high school football don't have to be big guys. They have to be chasers and play with a lot of motor and play with leverage, and he certainly brings all of that.
3rd and 21. Rand just over the middle, finds Trapio, but ultimately he'll get, it looks like, either just back to or a yard shy of the original line of scrimmage as we've got a timeout for Oceanside.
Great decision by Coach Blount right there. People are probably wondering why he's using a timeout with 2:13 to go in the third quarter. The wind situation right now, right? He has the wind when he gets the ball back, so he wants to save as much clock as he can and keep the ball. So stop the clock now, get the ball back with probably about 2:08, 2:07 to go in the quarter.
We talked about keys of this game. Well, for Oceanside, he said, one, we've got to limit the big plays to Catola and Trapio. I mean, they didn't stop it from Catolo, but so far, or the one play at least, right? He said Catolo is without a doubt the best wide receiver in the county, and he has carried the load for them offensively. Trapio has made ridiculous plays throughout the season as well. The second key, we meaning Oceanside, has to establish the run game to keep the defense on their toes. They've not quite done that yet. We've got to protect McKee and strike early, be mentally sound in all three phases of the game. So a little bit of mixed bag there for Blount and his keys to victory for the Sailors.
Yeah, I think right now with the wind conditions, Syosset has won the first half, by scoring the scoreboard in the play. And Oceanside is clearly winning this quarter right now.
Korean will punt this football from his own 5. An extra step or two. It's a short one, and it'll bounce for the Sailors. Down at the 27 or 26-yard line, so talk about an ideal situation for McKee to bring his offense back out onto the field with a chance to take their first lead of the game.
I think, we kind of know that Oceanside has been championship material for quite a while, a few years now with Coach Blount and what their moxie is a little bit, right? Now we're going to check out Syosset's moxie right here. 10-10, punt went about 6 yards into the wind, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen once in a while. And what can you bring now defensively? Can you get a stop? Can you, I think if you Coach Blount, you have 2:04, right? You'd like to score in this quarter if you can with the wind.
You see there at the top of your screen, McKee 173 yards away from becoming Nassau County's all-time leading passer in terms of yards. McKee under pressure now, ducks under. He tucks it, and he'll get to the outside. Good job avoiding Quinn Brogy, who we mentioned earlier, right? 6'2", 245 at D tackle, has played at end as well.
Brogy with a pretty dominant first half on the defensive line. Kind of calmed a little bit here with a good chase, but you see the Syosset was playing coverage there, which allowed McKee to get free a little bit off the scramble.
2nd and 2. McKee again. He will run the football himself. First down and more. Charlie McKee. Touchdown, Oceanside. 19-yard touchdown run.
It's like a little lead draw to Charlie McKee right there, right? Gets it back up inside, I think, to help him, and then hopefully see the replay. And he gets his shoulder pads going downhill at 200 and whatever pounds, 10 pounds he is, and he's a tough runner right now. And these Oceanside guys are clearly beginning to dominate this half in terms of the line of scrimmage. Pretty fired up, Charlie, right now. Don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of knows, right, what he was coming into today and what he needed and chasing history. And we'll talk more about that after this PAT attempt. But that speaks to what he is as a leader, right? He's not automatically just trying to throw the ball and sling it around to get a record. He wants to get his team a win.
At the end of the day, people, I think, at the quarterback position, they can have all the stats you want, but they're remembered by being champions and winning championships, And
that's the one thing that's kind of eluded McKee, right? Like, we spoke about it earlier this year when you talk about some of the greats, right? Like, even on that list we told you, you mentioned Hogan even, right? And Capobianco and Jack Cohn out in Sayville as Maurizio's PAT is good. All those guys have won championships. That's what McKee is trying to get here in his senior year.
Absolutely. Great little lead draw right there, which means the back gets up inside and helps him. Looks like it's going to be a pass for a brief second. The running back leads, and you get downhill. And once again, the South guys are kind of playing a little bit of coverage there, thinking, playing with the wind. And look at this right now. It's 1 minute and 45 seconds to go in the third quarter. It's not conceivable, but Oceanside can get the ball back with the wind again.
That's McKee's 5th rushing touchdown. And again, we spoke to Rob Blount in the week leading up. He wasn't even sure at that point whether McKee would play again, missed last week's game off an injury suffered in that Massapequa loss, but he said, listen, being on the verge of history for McKee, he said it speaks volumes about McKee's consistency and the longevity of our program in Nassau and Long Island football. He's done it, being McKee, for a very long time for as many different teams, opposing players and coaches. As much as it's an individual accomplishment, certainly it's about the program as well, and many great players have contributed to McKee and the team's success. It would be a milestone along the journey, but they're much more focused on getting back to the county final and this time finishing the job. Oceanside, remember, too, in the spring, when games weren't at Hofstra, had the Conference 1 championship game on their home turf in front of their home fans, and they lost to Oceanside in dramatic fashion. Oceanside to Massapequa in dramatic fashion. Massapequa then turned around the game we broadcast, you and I, in front of a packed house at Oceanside, won in the regular season as well. There's a lot of football to be played. Could there be another round 2 this year, round 3 of those games? If it is, it would be at Hofstra University, but these guys here, these Braves, want to prove they're among the elite in Nassau Conference 1, and you know a great way to prove that here, Mike, is with a big drive here and perhaps tying the score as well.
Absolutely, and storybook endings are exactly for storybooks, right? They don't happen too often. It would have been great for the Oceanside to win the championship at home last year, but Massapequa would have none of it, and didn't have any of it this year when they went over there earlier this year and won. And maybe Coach Brown is right. Maybe losing that game was a good thing for them to refocusing, because not necessarily their best first half here either, but they've rallied right now and they're playing pretty well.
Cardo cuts back to the outside, gets a few more yards. But you're right. You feel that momentum changing, right? And especially on the line. And the guys up front, Stalter, Moskovich, and Miller, and the linebackers, especially led in the middle by Lyson and Baez and Broderick and McGann. They're starting to win those battles on a pretty consistent basis. So those maybe 4 or 5 yard runs are now 2 or 3 yards or less. That was for 3 for Cardo, 2nd and 7.
Well, Dylan, the entire D-line for Oceanside, the 3 linemen and 2 of the 4 linebackers play one way. They just play defense. And it looks like I'm looking at the starters, and you're looking at who's playing, and a lot of the South guys are playing both ways. And maybe they're starting to wear on them a little bit. Nice to have one-way guys. You can play one way and go full motor one way, and maybe they're wearing on them a little bit right now.
And this is another one of those timeouts you're referencing, right? So you figure you like to get the ball back with the win being a situation. So Oceanside calls a timeout. We've got 37 seconds on our clock up here, and you've got a 3rd down and 5, right? So if you are Blount, you're betting on a stop here, a punt, you get the ball back, and you take one more shot at the end zone with the wind at your back.
Yeah, well, I think if they keep the ball in bounds or in play and the clock's running, you use your last timeout. And people are like, why are you going to go into the 4th quarter with no timeouts? But you've benefited from the win maybe as much as possible, to get the lead. And if a South guy's throwing incompletion or stop the clock themselves, then you save a timeout. You get the ball back. So they're in a pretty good situation. The only thing that would change that would be a 1st down by Syosset.
Here's some of our upcoming schedule. A big one in the Catholic High School Football League. Iona Prep, St. Anthony's next week, Friday night under the lights. Hey, we're going to head out to Suffolk County, Hills East and Northport. That should be a great one as well. And see the rest of our games. And that's the one tomorrow afternoon. Undefeated battle in Catholic AA. The Holy Cross Knights coming from Queens against the Titans of Holy Trinity. 1:30 kickoff for that one. Rangis. What a grab by Catolo. Had a range back to his left, across his body, Mike, and makes a 1st down grab.
That's why he's the receiver of the year in Nassau County, right? That's why he wins those award because he can do those things. Great athletic play, and that's the 1st down that Syosset needed to kind of salt the quarter away here, it looks like, right, and be able to start the 4th quarter with the win. And it looks like they'll do just that, right? They're in no hurry to get out of their huddle, and that will do it for the 3rd quarter. So the Sailors have come back
and they lead this one 17-10 going into the final 12 minutes. It's the Orland and Cone Game of the Week right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Now is the time to showcase your skills for the next level. College recruiting videos help your athlete land a spot on the team and can save money on college tuition. Consider a professional video produced by Varsity Media. Our quality film and state-of-the-art editing will help your athlete stand out from the competition. We offer affordable rates and a quick turnaround. Contact Varsity Media today and book a college recruiting video. 516-403-2050 or online at varsitymedia.net.
And welcome back to Syosset. Start of the fourth quarter. Good one here in Nassau Conference 1. The Orland and Cone Game of the Week living up to its billing. Oceanside leads Syosset 17-10. We showed you, Mike, at the start of this game how the standings are, and 2 power points separating these two teams just behind first place in undefeated Massapequa. That's how much is on the line here between these two teams. Rangis over the middle, in and out of Trapio's hands. Mecca in on the coverage. And you have the feeling too, Mike, it maybe means a little bit more in terms of the respect for Syosset, right? Look, Oceanside's the preseason one. We know how good a football team they are. If there are questions or doubts about Syosset, here's an opportunity. Look, if you can go back-to-back and beat the Dalers and the Sailors, you are a championship contending team.
Absolutely, and they're not very far off Syosset right now. You know, I mean, it's if they don't come back and win this game, they're still not very far off.
2nd and 10 from the 36-yard line. Rangers rolls to the right, looking for Cicada. It's intercepted, and now there's a fumble. Whose football is this? And it will be Syosset ball. And how about, or the other way, I should say,
Oceanside ball.
Oceanside football. Here it is again. Here's a great vantage point.
Yep, that's Lyson. Who was that there, Lyson?
I think it might have been McGann, right? Number 8?
It was McCann, number 8, yep. He's jumping that out. I think as he sprinted towards the out, Dylan, you know, as he began to run out of territory and the chase came from the backside, if you don't throw it at a certain time, it allows the defender closing time, you know, and unfortunately for Syosset, great play by McGann.
That was almost twice in 2 weeks that we had a situation where there was an interception and then the person with the interception fumbled the football and it went back to the opposing team. We had that at St. Anthony's Stepinac, and the amazing thing, too, is it gave St. Anthony's at the time a fresh set of downs because that was a change of possession. What an opportunity to tack on to the lead now for the Sailors. 1st and 10 from the 21-yard line. Here's Parker. Bounces it to the outside. Now cuts inside, and he will be downed at the 13-yard line.
I really like what Oceanside's doing right now. They've made a solid commitment to running the football.
And McKee as well, right? 53 yards on the ground, 84 in the air, 2 touchdowns as well. I like what we've seen in, look, we're not at every Oceanside game, right? But I like what we've seen here from Parker in these 3 games that we've seen them, or we've had them on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Parker, the 5'7" junior, has looked really good. That zone scheme running back who's got great patience as well.
Looks like they're changing the play at the line here. 2nd and short. A lot of options when it's 2nd and short. With or without the wind, doesn't matter.
McKee keeps it. He's got to block up the field. He'll get into the end zone, but there are multiple flags down on the field. Looks like this one will be coming back.
I think he got a hold here on the perimeter.
Right there.
Yeah. Trapio fighting to come back outside. When you keep those hands inside the numbers, Dylan, you're probably not going to get a call too much. But especially when you have those gloves on, you get a white hand on a red jersey on the outside of the shoulder pad, and a guy's body turns a little bit, that's going to get called almost every time. Linemen inside can get away with that holding a little bit, but when you're on the perimeter, the referees are pretty close, officials are pretty close, you're going to get called a lot.
So this will push them back to the 21-yard line, so the original line of scrimmage.
Sure, it's like a 2nd and 10, like an incomplete
Correct,
almost
yeah.
was thrown, you know. So
Lyson motions. McKee again. He'll kick it to the outside. A really good tackle. Was that Cicada again? Cicada. Or is that Catolo?
Catolo. Big man, you got to go low in the big man if you're Catolo. You know, go low, go legs and ankles, right, with the low tackle. Great job. Well executed. 3rd and 5, Oceanside probably with 2 downs here, right? Because I'd like to think that, you know, a 2-touchdown lead puts them in a really good spot.
Yeah, you would be 2 scores regardless, even if Maurizio, who we know can kick field goals, but it is into the wind now, so it's a little bit of a different situation. So 3rd and 5 for Oceanside. You see a little bit of a different look now where Xavier Miller featuring as a running back as well, now to the left hip as the whistle's blown. It'll be a timeout here by Syosset.
Looks like Oceanside put an extra lineman into the game. It was going on unbalanced formation of some kind. That kind of got them a little confused.
So again, you know, we were out here for the soccer game, Hicksville and Syosset. We had on the Varsity Media Sports Network, which gave us an opportunity to go right across this field and to the practice field, and we had an opportunity to speak to Luca Catola, and this is what they're trying to do right now. How do you stop?
We got to contain the run, and we definitely have to just be sound in our defense, our man in our zone, just because they have kids that can run around, great quarterback that can sling the ball, so we got to just run with them.
I think one way you do it is you go low, right? That's what you saw there moments ago from Catolo.
Sure, hard to tackle those big guys up high if you're a secondary player. You see it in college, in the NFL all the time. You got to come down low, and you got to, you know, your hawk roll tackle in and get them on the floor, and don't try to take those guys up high.
You get the feeling too, Mike, these are 2 massive plays because, look, if you're Oceanside and you get in the end zone, like you mentioned, right now it's a 2-score game with 9.5 left. You're now forcing Syosset to probably have to get in the air, right, and move the football in a quick way. If you get a stop, if you're Syosset, you could play the same way that you've played all game, kind of that mix of Accardo running the football and also your multiple receivers.
Sure, if you keep out of the end zone here and keep it to 1 score, your play calling is one set of goes one direction. If you're down by 2 scores with 9 minutes or a little less to go, your certainly play calling is going to go in a very different direction for the remainder of the game.
Charlie McKee has done a great job impacting this game. His team was down 10-3. Found Mecca for a 16-yard touchdown. Then he ran for a 19-yard score. I formation here. Handoff goes to Parker. Pushes forward. And he will be shy of the first down marker. 4th down for the Sailors.
Old school, getting a power eye and just getting downhill, trying to get the first down. Probably do the same thing again.
How about a little keeper here for McKee?
Could be. Put the ball in your best player's hands. You might be right here, Dylan.
The keeper to the outside. He's hit at the line, but he pushes forward, and he will get the first down. I mean, I thought he got it for sure, and there you see the call, first down for Oceanside.
That's what we kind of saw out of the Oceanside guys early in the year against the Farmingdale guys. When they needed it, they put in some power sets, and they ran downhill with Charlie and some of the other backs. you know, and against Massapequa, it just wasn't there for him. You know, Massapequa was very good defending it, and they didn't run it very much. But back again in this half, they made a major commitment to running it, and it certainly paid dividends.
Miller stays in to McKee's left tip. He'll get, actually it's McKee. Look out. He was blasted on that fake handoff. Honestly, that was a situation where he would have been better off handing the ball to Miller. Miller had some space, read well by Syosset.
Some of those plays, Dylan, you know, they look like they might be read plays, but they might be just be, you know, signaling to give the ball either way or pull it either way, and sometimes it doesn't always work out. That was one of those situations where I think they like to have that play back again, you know.
And the Syosset fans would like a flag there for a hold. Not given. Ball's pushed back to the 14. Now what I'll say here, and it's certainly advantageous for Oceanside, the clock is winding, right? So they've got the ball with the lead, 2nd and 13 from the 14. McKee fakes the handoff, rolls, has a man wide open, touchdown Oceanside.
Had 2 men open there. He could have picked either one of them. Wide open.
Miles McGann. So you've got Miller on the offense and McGann as well. And listen, if you're McKee, you had another option as well. 2 guys were open.
Show a little quarter roll one way and looks to throw it back where it came from and hits McGann. Wide open, and he had 2 guys open and very good play right there.
How about the play calling and the decision here? You talked about guys going one way, right, for Oceanside as Maurizio's PAT is up, and it is good. This is another guy who's been a big part of your defense, Miles McGann. He had the interception.
Yeah, he was playing. I think he was playing tight end there and kind of released and got up the field and was open, kind of got lost a little bit.
Maybe the pick proved to Blount he can catch the football, right? There he goes. Put him on offense.
Sure, shows you the depth that Oceanside has. McGann is, you know, the word afterthought is not the right word, but, you know, he's certainly not a guy you're going to feature right in the intro about what he does offensively. And the guy becomes a pretty important factor in the game all of a sudden, both on the defensive side and the offensive side of the ball.
A huge touchdown for Oceanside, and McKee, what a job leading his team in the second half, right? I mean, the rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns as well. His team was down 10-3, and they've rattled off, was that 21 straight points? They lead 24-10.
Well, if you're thinking that, you know, you want Charlie McKee to be your best player in the conference, and you think you have the best player and the most important player in the conference, well, you got to put the ball in his hands, right? He's got to win the game for you sometimes. And everybody's got think they have the best player in the team needs to win the game from sometimes. And Charlie's asked to do that today, and he's responded in this half really well.
And that's, again, you know, to harp back because, you know, he is chasing history today, right? The guys that we showed on that list and maybe some of the all-time greats, certainly in the past maybe 10, 15 years, they all had that same quality, right? Just lead your team to a win. Whether it was the guys out in Sayville that we've talked about before, Cone and Cheshire and even Stephen Ferrara before him, right? All those Oceanside guys, the Hewer brothers and Vinny Guarino, Will Hogan, we talked about him before, right, here at Syosset. It was all about leading their team in big moments, and this is a big one here for Oceanside, and certainly McKee has done that in a big way.
Absolutely, because the game was put on his shoulders a little bit by Coach Blount. You can tell by the play calling, right? He needs to deliver and make plays, and he's done that. He's done all of that. Little uphill road to climb here for Syosset in the last 6:55 and try to get back in the game. Down 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, you get the feeling, right, that last score really took a lot of the air out of the balloon here in Syosset, and what a difference statistically for really the 2 teams, right? As there's your Charlie Brown moment, right, on the kickoff. It's fielded by Nick Padula. He goes out at the 30. So first half, right, we talked about it was Syosset in total offensive yards, 77-0, right? Look at it now. Second half yards, Oceanside 133, Syosset 45.
Big difference right there. Huge difference in the game.
And your leader we mentioned before, right? You look at his numbers, 11 for 17 for 98 yards for McKee, 2 passing touchdowns, 14 carries, 58 yards, and a rushing score. Now all that in the second half.
And on the rushing yards, there were a couple scrambles mixed in there too that were kind of backbreaking a little bit because the Syosset guys had the pass plays defended well and just couldn't, get to him and couldn't tackle him. And those are the kind of plays that really stress the defense a lot when you can't get him on the ground.
1st and 10 from the 26. They need points in a hurry, does Syosset. Rand just looks for 6 right away, goes over the middle, and there's the flag for pass interference. Catolo is trying to push his way forward, right? And getting some contact there up the field was McCormick.
I didn't see the middle of the play. I don't know, you have to decide where the referee saw what went on to throw the flag, right? Was it the beginning, the middle, or the end of the play? Oceanside coaches aren't too happy. But at the end of the play, I thought the ball was a little overthrown.
That's what the argument is on that
Right.
sideline, right?
Yep.
Obviously in high school, this isn't a spot foul, so you do get some yards on it, but it's a 15-yard variety. Although there is a conversation there, you see it, among the officials. Vinny Oliva will wave the flag off. Rob Blount, a happy man on that far sideline.
The demonstrative Rob Blount won the argument that time.
And
yeah.
that was the reasoning, surely, right?
Sure.
It was a ball that was not catchable.
Sure. I think some of the contact is, I wouldn't say it's incidental completely, but, obviously both guys are jockeying for position. But I think a good pick up the flag and wave off situation right there.
So all of that for an incomplete pass. So he brings up 2nd and 10 from the 26-yard line. Again, Syosset had a 10-3 lead. They now trail 24-10. And looks like this is a mistake here by the officials. The coaches for Syosset are trying to point it out. It will go down as an error. Now, Accardo doesn't get anything. What the argument here, and they are right, it was a missed call by the officials. The ball was on the 26-yard line. It says as much on the scoreboard. The officials pushed back 5 yards, and that's where that play was from.
On the scoreboard, the funny thing is when they decided to move the ball back, Dylan, I looked at the scoreboard and said, 26-yard line. The ball was put down on the different yard line.
Now, you have an issue here, too, because the sticks move back. Right, usually if you're sticks, you've got to stay where you are, right? They moved back. So generally speaking, the officials will reference the sticks, right, and be like, you know what, you're right. Let's push it up. Let's go where it's supposed to be.
I think the sticks, people mistakenly move with the flag a little too early and then just reference the scoreboard. We'll see if Mr. Oliva, the official there, can get it squared away. I think he's going to do the right thing here, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so that should basically just be a play for nothing, right? And you go back to 2nd and 10 from the 26.
And that's the right thing to do. There's human error involved. The officials made an error between them between the officials and the sticks. They made a mistake. Just fix it. Make it right. We make the right play and make everybody feel better about the situation, that you're doing the right thing.
So that's what they'll do here. So mea culpa by the officials, the right call. And they'll replay 2nd down. What a game out in Suffolk County right now between East Islip and Sayville. The Redmen lead 30-28 in that battle of undefeated teams. So after everything is handled, 2nd and 10 from the 26-yard line. Rangis goes sideline. Great grab there by Cicada, and he gets out of bounds past the 30.
He threw that. Matthew Rand just threw that ball a very long way for a high school quarterback. That ball was thrown way across the field, and a great catch. That's not something you see every day, Dylan, in a high school football game. I'm sorry. That's a great pitch and catch right there.
So 3rd and 4. Syosset, an uphill climb here with 6 minutes left. He goes short, looking for Ricardo. Up the sideline, first down. Ricardo stays in. Luca Ricardo sheds a tackle, and he's pulled down inside the 35-yard line.
Great run by Ricardo, but guess who makes a tackle? McCann. Great run by Ricardo, getting out of tackles, shifty, making a guy miss. And McCann cleans it up, otherwise he would have scored.
So the chain crew and kind of moving slowly on that far sideline as there's a timeout by Oceanside. That is their final timeout of this game.
You know, Dylan, there's that coaching box there on the field, that white area, right? That strip is the coaching box. And realistically, nobody's supposed to be in that box when Paul's in play. And we all know it doesn't really happen too much. And the chain crew is fighting those people too.
So we talked about how important this game is and how it affects the standings. Let's take another look at those standings. And there you see it, right? Massapequa, perfect right now, 5-0. Oceanside holds on to this win. Certainly they leapfrogged Syosset. And then you've got the Dalers and Freeport behind them. A lot of this is going to be about jockeying for position, right? In terms of having a home field game or having a game on campus in the quarterfinals. Oh, I think once you get to Hofstra, it's really not much of a difference. It's like, you know, what locker room do you have? What sideline are your fans in, right? But certainly still a lot of jockeying left in position. There you see these two teams going forward. Syosset goes to Port Washington at Hicksville. You got to kind of project 2 wins there, right? And then here, East Meadow, Freeport. Freeport's a tricky one. Red Devils playing much better right now. So that's a tough Week 8 game for Rob Blount. And those two teams always seem to kind of play each other tight. 1st and 10, the 34-yard line. Rangers again goes to Ricardo. Tries to shed Baez's tackle before he is taken down by Broderick.
Well, the big games the next few weeks, Dylan. You have Farmingdale and Freeport playing next Friday night. And then the following week in Week 8, you have Farmingdale versus Massapequa and Freeport versus Oceanside. So you'll have, I guess, numbers 4 of the 5 top teams will play each other, and it will shake out.
And the Dalers could also impact the top seed, right? I mean, you use the cliche all the time, right, about rivalry games and throwing the records, but it is true when Massapequa and Farmingdale play. That game is always a tough one to sort of prognosticate, right? Rangis goes up the middle, nowhere to go, and Broderick is the last guy to finally throw him backward.
Not much there. Good job by the defensive line, the interior defensive line, Moskovich and Staltera and Miller. You know, Moskovich and Staltera are big people, and they're very hard to move.
Well, Moskovich is the guy who was filling in, right, for an injured player on the line as well at nose tackle. He was one of those changes earlier on this year. Rangis now back to pass. Goes long over the middle. Trapio, and there is a flag and another one from behind as well. What you like if you're Syosset in this situation, and I think this certainly more of a pass interference penalty than the other one that was debated, is the way that Trapio kind of sells it as well, right? Arms flailing, and he kind of makes the officials make the call.
Sure, I think right there was on that deep ball was his path was certainly impeded. It looked like there. His path was impeded, and that's why the flag was thrown, pass interference.
There you see it by Vinny Oliva.
Chains aren't moving anywhere right now, Dylan.
They've learned their lesson.
They're cemented in.
100%. Once that far sideline guy tells them to move, then they're moving, but they are staying put. They're still downfield. Finally, they move them down. So approaching 4 minutes. 1st and 10 from the 17-yard line. Rangis rolls right. He's got Moskovich chasing him. Goes end zone. Touchdown, Syosset!
Great ball by Rangis. He rifled that one in there. That was some throw and some catch.
And the receiver on the play injured.
I believe it might be Trapio. Trying to count the numbers and see which. It was hard to see when he caught the ball. Hopefully he's okay.
I mean, if it's Trapio, you mentioned earlier in the year, earlier in the week, early in the broadcast, I should say, that he was limping. He did get injured in week 1 or early in the year against Massapequa. That was week 2. But that was another one of the situations, Mike, where it appeared like that could have been a pass interference, right? Where he's got the defender all on his back and somehow pulls it in. A fantastic grab. As you see everyone kneeling on the sideline, and you do see the number, right? So it looks to be Trapio. And a good hand as Trapio is not putting a lot of pressure on one of those legs. So again, he was banged up, missed time earlier this year on an ankle injury. There you see him. You see how taped up that right ankle is. So perhaps maybe re-injured that ankle. We're not going to speculate, but we certainly hope that he will be back on the field soon. So what a terrific grab by Trapio, and we saw all the highlight reel ones from him from last week, right? And Korean on for the PAT.
Big extra point here.
Line drive attempt is no good. Hooked it to the left. So 24-16 is your score. There's 4:28 on the scoreboard. So here's the question for you, right? We know that there's no timeouts remaining for Oceanside. There are 2 left for Syosset. Again, if the time on the clock is accurate, it's not the official time, but it's 4:28. Do you go for the onside right away, or do you kick it long? And again, kind of considering where you are on the field, you've gotten the chance to kind of boot it into the end zone and make them go long with your 2 timeouts that you have as well.
Well, Coach Rourke's been in the Conference 1 for a very long time, a graduate of ball in high school and 28 years in the league. And I know he's a very, very good coach, but he'll make a good decision here. But I'm not a fan at this juncture of onside kicking personally. You have to know your team. He knows his team better than I know my team. He's on the sidelines. He knows their condition, how they're feeling, where the momentum's at. But the problem is, if you onside kick it and don't get it, and you're able to use your timeouts and get a stop, and they punt it to you, you're going to have a very long field with no timeouts. Instead, if you kick it deep and you trust your defense to play and use your timeouts, if the defense can't get a stop, you deserve to win anyway. You've lost the game. But here, at least, you give them a longer field and punting into the wind, maybe you get yourself a shorter field with the ball back.
So Korean will go long. This time it's returnable. Oh, and a break here for Syosset. As Mecca trips and falls. Obviously, once the knee goes down, you are down. So here we go. Long field for Oceanside, and this is the window of opportunity for Syosset defensively.
Yep, that could that couldn't have worked out better. I think Coach Rook heard me. But like I say, he's been this a very long time. Very, very good coach. 2008 Nassau County Coach of the Year. I looked that up.
28th season.
I know he won it at some point. If he hadn't won it, it'd be a crime. He deserved to have won it a couple times. But you got to trust your defense now. You got to get stops.
1st and 10 from the 15. And we've seen different guys. We've seen 7. We know his ability, but we've seen different guys, defensive guys normally impacting the game on the offensive side for Oceanside. McKee taken down and a good first down run. It was Rashudo, the junior. Speaking of injuries, how about an A.J. Zuleta, who's such a big player, right, for Syosset. He got injured earlier in the year. There you see the numbers for McKee in the air. 11 for 17, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So certainly unlikely, right, that he'll become Nassau's all-time leading passer for yards or career passing leaders this week. We'll have 2 more shots at it, home for East Meadow and then at Freeport. So they'll move the chains. 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. 10-yard gain for McKee. And another big run up the middle, and they'll move the chains again.
That's what I'm talking about, right? Like right now, the Syosset defense can't get the stop they need, and I think kicking the ball deep and using the timeouts was the correct play. If you can get a stop on 1st down here, maybe Coach Rourke will use one. If you can get a stop here on 1st down.
They haven't been able to the last 2, right? It's long runs by McKee. Both have moved the chains. McKee 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. He'll check his sideline. He gets the notice on time winding down on the play clock. He'll take the run himself again. Runs toward midfield, and he's taken down at the 48-yard line. I mean, this is how you end the game, how you lead your team if you are Charlie McKee. So impressive the way he's looking to close this game out.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by Oceanside right now. They came out in the second half and they put the hammer down a little bit, as you would say, and they've dominated the second half of play. Other than the one drive that Syosset just had, they've dominated play, and Charlie's taken the game into his hands, and Coach Brown's put the game into his hands.
McKee was a game-time decision, missed last week's game, got hurt late in the Massapequa game, stayed in that game, closed it out. McKee again, tucks it, runs to the right, and stays inside the sideline, so the clock will continue to run. Well, actually, it will stop because what does he do again? No, he didn't. He gets short of it. I thought he moved the chains again. He got 9 on that 1st down run.
They called it a 1st down right there. Nope, 2nd and 1. He pointed his hand up, Mr. Weave, like it might have been a 1st down, but it wasn't.
And this is honestly, right, this is the point where you were mentioning, right, try to stop me. And it's not happening, right? It's McKee is just, now here's a situation. Do you continue to run the football, or maybe do you take a shot, right? Especially since you've run the football as much as you have. Why not?
Well, you don't have
rinse and repeat.
You don't need any more points. You don't need any more points. 24. If they don't get the ball back, they can't beat you. 24-16 is the winning score, and right now, it doesn't look like they're getting the ball back.
So again, the chains will move, and the clock. You can see it at the bottom of your screen now with 1:27 and counting left. This was a drive that, we were at 4:30, right, left when the kickoff happened, and now Syosset will take one of their final 2 timeouts. But what a drive, what a game-winning potential drive here by Oceanside.
These are the drives that championships are made of, right here. If you want to be a champion, you want to get to play Massapequa, get them in the final, and have a chance to beat them. You have to be able to have drives like this. You got to remember, Dylan, it's a beautiful day here. It's October 16th. A beautiful afternoon, quite windy, but in the 60s and a sunny day. Fast forward a month from now, you'll be at Hofstra on a more than likely cool to cold night. And what if it's windy like this on a cold night? You're going to have to run the football to win the game. And I think Oceanside demonstrated for me. We saw them play a few scores at Massapequa. I honestly was a little disappointed. They were a little unable to run the football at Massapequa. Good by the Massapequa defense, right? Good for them getting the stops they needed. Massapequa played very good against the run. But today they proved against a very formidable opponent that if they have to, they can run the football to win the game. And that you're going to need that at the end, no doubt.
Well, they did it against the Dalers, right, earlier this year. But they had a big size advantage up front, right? It's similar athletes on both sides of the football here, you'd say, between Syosset and Oceanside.
Yes, it's a little bit more even in size, and looks like they're in the victory formation right now, which is a great formation of practice.
We could have told you that a second ago when the coordinator comes down from up top, right? Like you know they're done calling plays. So Syosset does have a timeout in their pocket, but it appears they're not going to take it.
The clock on the scoreboard might be not officials, might be a little incorrect.
I mean, what a performance by Charlie McKee. That's carrying the football, 19 carries, 106 yards for a touchdown. He tucks that football. And I think if there were any questions about how he was feeling, was he well enough to play, he answered those in a big way. What a performance by Charlie McKee. He might not have broken the Nassau County record for passing yards in a career today, but more importantly, he led his team to a huge victory.
And this is what we talked about at the beginning of the year, is Charlie becoming a champion, right? Winning a championship, and this is what champion stuff are made of. Do whatever it takes to win. Statistics, throw them out the window. Do whatever it takes to be a champion, and he went a long way today.
What a performance and a comeback for Oceanside again, too, right? Things weren't going their way in the first half. They're down 10-3, and then suddenly a big comeback for Oceanside, and what a performance by the Sailors, led by their leader in Charlie McKee, and big win for the Sailors. Big job there by Charlie McKee. We've got him now with us, and Charlie, Dylan Butler, Mike Hungerford here in the booth. First of all, congratulations on a big win. What they were taking away maybe from you in the air, it looked like you guys needed to respond on the ground. You in particular, talk about that second half comeback for you guys.
Absolutely. I mean, we were down 10-3 going into half. I mean, we kind of regrouped in the locker room. We came out. We knew we had to be 100% every single play. They left the linebacker outside the box. We knew we had to run the ball. So I mean, coach put the ball in my hands, and I just did what I did.
Charlie, you came in, and I'm sure you were aware sort of the chase here to become Nassau County's all-time leader in passing yards. But you're a leader of your team as well, and it felt like today was an opportunity where, you know what, I want to lead my team to a win. That's first and foremost, and that's what it seemed like you were doing here today.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not just me always. It's we, not me. So, I mean, I give a lot of credit to all my guys, especially my line up front. They did an amazing job today, especially in the second half. My guys outside blocked when we were running the ball and caught the ball and got the yards they needed to when they had the ball in their hands. So I'm super excited for them, and I love these guys. So big win for us.
How about, too, the guys who normally are big on defense, a guy like Miles McGann, a guy like Xavier Miller, they're right there with you. They're playing on offense, and maybe McCann showed or proved to Coach Blount with the INT, he can catch the ball. You found them in the end zone.
Absolutely. I mean, Miles had a huge play for us on that interception, and we had to give him the ball to go in the end zone. I mean, to cap it off. So, I mean, Miles, huge fourth quarter there, huge third quarter to finish the game, and I'm excited for him.
You've got a pretty good chance next week at home in front of the 309 to become Nassau's all-time leading passer. I know, again, the wins are more important, but what would that mean to you maybe at home in front of your home crowd You've been the Oceanside game since you were a kid. What would that mean to kind of become Nassau's all-time leader in passing yards?
Absolutely. I mean, to overpass a guy like Joe Cap, it's big time, and to be able to do it at home in front of 309 in the nation with my guys that I've been through for the last 4 years, I'm excited to do it. I mean, I can never do it alone. I got a big support behind me. I got my family, my coaches that I couldn't do without, and especially my team. Like I said, it's we, not me, and I'm with them till the end.
Charlie, we thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on a win, and we wish you the best of luck going forward as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
So Charlie McKee, the leader here for Oceanside, and a big win, and you could hear from the answers, right? I don't think that's all just being coached up, right? It's we, not me. You want to have that from a leader, especially in a position where you can rack up the stats easily, right? You can put big numbers up, but the bigger number is the one in terms of the win column from today's game.
Well, I think when you're in a conference like this one, Dylan, it's competitive at the top. The top teams are all pretty competitive with each other, and it's not going to be about statistics. It's about winning and losing and trying to win a championship, right? And Charlie is representing. He's VI, but he's part of the we, and they're happy to have him and leading them. And there's a whole lot of those pronouns being used or whatever, right?
Yes.
But that's what you got to do. It's statistics out the window. Can we win the football game? Whatever it takes. No one will remember 28. He'll be on a list. He'll break a record. He'll be on the list, and people will remember him. But in Oceanside High School, if they win a championship this year, that's what they'll all remember.
Well, I and we will be at Holy Trinity tomorrow afternoon as it's a battle in the Catholic High School Football League AA. Undefeated teams as well in the league between Holy Cross and Holy Trinity. Here's our games beyond tomorrow afternoon as well. We stay in the Catholic High School Football League at St. Anthony's and Iona Prep. We want to talk about some big-time players. There are so many of them there as well in that game. And you and I, those are more pronouns, right? You, I, we, out at Northport and Hills East. That should be a fantastic game as well. So big games up front. Again, we'll release more games on our social media platforms. You can see there at the bottom of your screen on Facebook, on Twitter, as well as on Instagram. So that should do it here from Syosset. Big second half comeback for the Sailors of Oceanside. I want to thank our crew here today, of course, Chris Sweeney, Becca Kazaks, and Earl Simmons, as well as Ben Turchin. My broadcast partner is Mike Hungerford. Thank you for joining us on the Orland and Cone Game of the Week on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.